Let's go, baby. Sucio Talk, Seaside, California, Maligne, my main man, Chef Klaus Georis. What's going on, Chef? How you doing, man?
Good, man.
Nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming down and having me on, man.
Yeah, dude, this is the ideal for me. Like when they say, "Hey, why do you do your podcast?" I'm like, this reason right here, because I get to be in a space where most of the time people are here, right?
Yeah.
There's very few times when it's empty, and that's when what a chef gets. I don't get it anymore because I'm not in restaurants, but it's like it's nice to be in the kitchen and feel the energy of the room.
What's interesting as well to be, even for myself, man, to be sitting in this part of the restaurant.
Yep.
There's constantly people, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
What it's like to sit at the tables.
Damn. So the name Maligne, where'd you come up with that?
So Maligne is a French word that is someone that's like kind of like mischievous, if you will. And my dad would always call me that as I was a kid, as I was definitely a kid that got into trouble and was always just a bit mischievous, or trying to stir stuff up. And Maligne is that, but just the female version. Gotcha. So it's a mischievous, cunning woman. So that explains a lot of the artwork on the walls of a lot of the abstract nudes, if you will.
Okay, there you go.
Or not so abstract over there in the bathrooms, but some of the others require you to use your eyes a little bit more.
Okay, I like that. And is this a concept that you came up on your own, or did you have a team sort of help you with that?
So no, it was myself and my dad that did all of it. All the artwork's my dad's that he painted back in the 70s.
Yeah.
And him and I kind of got together, and this probably took like 4 or 5 years from start to finish. Obviously, COVID was in the middle of that, which makes things a little bit harder, but just kind of got to talking and, had found the space and trying to figure out what should we do, what works. And at that point as well, to transition out of that really high-end Michelin dining to,
more
I think
casual.
it's hard. Yeah, more casual. And I think it's a hard thing to swallow, for lack of better words.
Yeah,
you work
definitely.
in that high level, it's like, all right, let's go casual. And it took a while for me to become comfortable with that, to kind of think like, shit, did I waste? Not waste, but what did I do with the last 9 years of fine dining to go cook casual? But I
think I go through that too. And I'm like, I trained to be a commando, right? Yeah. And now I'm like the security guard of a strip mall, and I'm like, what happened?
That's a really good way
to
put it.
And so we have all this training to like literally go in there, fucking take out the enemies and, and not hurt anyone that's innocent. And then your brain starts to struggle. It's also not easy because your peers will start looking at you and be like, oh, casual, huh? And you're like,
and it's funny for us, man, here. It's like when we very first opened up, I definitely went after that high end and that high end market of food. And I think what a lot of us are accustomed to. And I think what a lot of people don't realize, myself included in the beginning, is that to be in those restaurants, those really high-end restaurants, the reason they're so successful is because there's someone above everyone that has a lot of money that's willing to lose it. And it's like, here, go play. Go do everything you want. That wasn't so much the case here. And once you start to realize, you're like, man, it is expensive. Like, well, this doesn't make sense. How do we have a restaurant that can still take care of people, can still operate? And I always have my dad's voice in the back of my head. It's always like, it's a business first and foremost. So, your business has to run. And after finding, it's like, man, I don't have someone behind me with just a bunch of money that's like, hey man, go, just go. It's like, all right, let's go casual. Let's serve the community. Let's do food and that was the big thing. We definitely went high end, and we became an occasional restaurant where, people come once every 3-4 weeks or once every 2 months or for their birthday. And people from this immediate community weren't coming here. So all of a sudden we became dependent on shit, I hope someone from San Jose has an anniversary today.
Right.
So they come here. So then we did that high-end model for about 7 or 8 months. And then once it became a bit more clear to me that this is just it's not the most financially wise decision to go this route. Went casual. And I think kind of touching back on the thing of the peers, like went from that high end to now way more casual food. It's like, I never thought with, you know, all, like you said, all like the commando training that I would own a restaurant that serves a chicken parm.
Right.
It was not in my wildest dreams, if you will, of like, yeah, here, you want a chicken parm? You want like a vol au vent or something like that? And it took a second to kind of be, I don't say willing to accept it, but like kind of willing to accept it. It's like, all right, we're not going to do a bunch of dishes that involve immense amount of times to do the prep, to make the sauce, to blah, blah, blah. Like, let's just do good food. And I don't know, it gave everyone a life, man. That was the biggest thing that I noticed that I'd never had. And I'm sure you experienced it as well, man. You work in that high-end dining and high-end of any industry, and you don't really have a life.
Yeah, it's taxing.
Yes.
You live it.
It is definitely taxing, and taxing just on your body, on your energy, sleep.
Relationships, mood.
That was the next one, relationships. You know, I found myself, and I think it happens to a lot of us, any relationship that I'd gotten into could only go so far before it's like, well, yeah, but like, I got to go to work.
Right.
It's like, well, what about
this?
anything
What about
aside from work? It's like, yeah, well, I work 18 hours a day.
Yeah.
So like,
we'll handle it 18 hours from now
yeah,
when you're asleep.
Yeah, and it's that sad thing where it's like, you know, you come home or you go to your other person's house and it's like, all right, come here, take a shower, we have a drink, go to bed.
Right. Wake up.
Yeah, I wake up
Leave.
before you.
Right.
I'm out the door, and then I'll shoot you a text in like 30, 40 minutes. Hey, good morning, blah, blah, blah. See you tonight.
Do you think that's why the relationships that work the most are people that work together in restaurants?
Do those relationships work?
No, I'm saying like most relationships in restaurants work when you work together. Like, you know, like husband and wife team or whatever, wife team, husband team, whoever it is. But just like married in the same building all the time. Now, sometimes as a cook who's like lived in that can be toxic because they're like having arguments and shit during service. And you're like, what the fuck? Just keep your head down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But like, I know this is you guys' home and business, but like keep the home stuff.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, so it's hard to kind of do that. But there's a lot of couples in the U.S., especially great chefs that are doing it every day. You know, like they're just making it happen. Yeah. Right. And it takes a special person to be with a chef to know that, like, even though he loves his career more than me, like
it's a hard pill to swallow.
You know what I'm saying? But he still loves me.
Yeah.
Like it's okay. You know.
And I love you with the time that I have, and that speaks volume. I don't have a lot of free time, so the free time that I have, and I give it to you, and I enjoy spending time with you. That's big.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't even have time to do my laundry sometimes.
There you go. Well, you know, here on Sucio Talk, we take it all the way back. So where were you born?
I was born here.
Born here in Seaside.
I was born in Monterey.
Okay.
At the community hospital here. Grew up in Carmel. My dad's originally from Belgium. He found Carmel like in the early 70s.
Yeah. Loved it, probably.
Yeah. Loved it for sure.
Yeah.
His entire family ended up moving to this area as well. So growing up, my entire family was in the area. All my cousins, aunts, uncles, the whole 9 yards. Went to elementary school here, middle school, high school, with a little bit of breaks in between. My dad and mom pulled my brother and I out of elementary school for 2 separate years. We moved to Belgium 1 year, went to school there, went to school in Paris as a little kid.
How was that experience?
It was great. It was cool. It was a definite like shock in the beginning. I don't know, when you're 7 years old and someone's like, we're leaving tomorrow.
How were you accepted by your classmates in Belgium?
I mean, it was a little bit of a rough start for sure. I think that, you know, and it's like at that point, here's these 2 kids showing up and like, we're in a village of, man, I don't know, like 15, 20 homes, a very, very small farming dairy village. and here's these like two brown American kids with their Gap sweatshirts on. Like, who the hell are these kids? And, you know, it's like we're so accustomed to here. You see the school bus go to the school, drop the kids off. And there, we had like 2 or 3 kids that got dropped off on horseback from like the plow horse. There was kids getting dropped off in like the farm tractors. Yeah. It was kind of a trip, man. So in the beginning,
was it like a thing in that school to get made fun of for that? Like,
no, the whole community is a farming community.
Okay, gotcha.
So they'd all make fun of each other.
Let's go, baby. I see your horse was
maybe they compare
today.
horses and stuff for sure.
Yeah, that's what
or cows.
Talk shit about your horse.
But it was definitely a little bit of a hard acceptance in the beginning. My brother and I both grew up speaking French with my dad.
Yeah.
Spanish with my mom. So we spoke the language, which was huge. But it was just different. You're the American kids in a foreign country. And we definitely got picked on, definitely got made fun of, all that stuff in the beginning, where, I don't know, if you're in, like this, we had a schoolhouse that was probably this building.
Plus the house next door.
Yeah, but like, and a story above. It's like,
That's it.
that was it. And it was kindergarten,
Schoolhouse,
first grade,
literally.
second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth
The
grade.
principal is the teacher of all the...
Yeah, the German teacher was upstairs. She was not a nice lady. So yeah, it was a tiny schoolhouse, man. And we got picked on, and I remember going home one day and telling my mom, like, dude, I'm just getting like made fun of at school.
Yeah.
And not like it's not really affecting me, but like, dude, it's just kind of a pain in the ass. And I
Right.
want to smack these kids. And I'll never forget, my mom was like, I never would condone, I don't want you to hit somebody. I don't condone violence. But every once in a while, you got to hold your ground. And you got to like let people know so they don't really mess with you.
Right.
I remember, I think the next day, my brother and I were at school, and it's like they would like roughhouse, man. And like you would play like war, but literally like kids just like fighting with sticks and shit in the playground. I remember just hitting one kid really hard one time, and it was just like reset the equilibrium, if you will, of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, won't fuck with those kids.
They're like, Klaus is not a bitch.
Like, all right, we'll
Calling
do
a
that.
meeting over here behind the slide. Don't fuck with Klaus anymore.
But after that, man, like I still talk to a handful of my friends from Europe still.
Oh, dope.
Here, whatever, 25, 26 years later.
That's hard to do, so...
yeah.
Shout out to you.
And it's cool, man. It's cool to see kind of where we've all gone, very different paths in life. But so I grew up in Belgium for a little while. My parents pulled us out of school in 5th grade, put us in Paris, got homeschooled in Paris for a while. And at that point, my dad was a big proponent of, education's really important, but in 5th grade, aside from like whatever you're learning, like math and stuff, but everything they're going to teach you in 5th grade, like we could teach you other stuff and you're going to be fine. Like you could learn how to get on Mavis Beacon later. You can do your typing classes at a different time. So my parents pulled us out of school. We went to Paris, and I think we did the homeschool packets for like 2 weeks. And then my dad was kind of like, well, I didn't bring, I don't know. I feel like I didn't bring all of us out here for you guys now to start doing word problems. Doesn't make sense.
At home.
So yeah, my dad ended up hiring essentially like a tour guide that worked for the city of Paris, and she had whatever credentials to get into all the museums. And our homeschooling was
Going to
going to museums for like
Sick.
3 or 4 months. And it was like, here, we're going to go to the catacombs today, the Louvre today, Notre Dame today, whatever. Monet's garden, we're going to go walk around. So that was great.
You were eating then good too then.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah. We ate super well, man. Going to just great restaurants or just awesome little bistros in Paris, eating super well. And I think at that point as well, it's very different when they treat you very differently in Europe.
Yeah.
And here I was at this point, I don't know, you're like 10, I think. I think you're 10 years old around that age. And like you go into a restaurant and someone's like, you want a glass of wine with your fricassee?
Sure.
Kind of like looking at my dad, and he's like, yeah, like, sure, why not? It's like, whatever, here's a small pour. But you're like, This is cool.
Yeah.
Can't wait to go back home to Carmel.
Tell the rest of those fuckers I was drinking out
or
there.
get offered a glass of milk when you go to your friend's house for dinner.
Right.
It's like, you want a glass of milk with your lasagna? No. How about that Beaujolais?
Yeah, right. Who the fuck is offering milk with lasagna? Is that real?
Dude, I think it was, well, in our family it wasn't, but I had a lot of friends growing up that you'd go to their house for dinner, and I don't know, dude. Everyone was drinking milk back then.
I know that, but that's disgusting. With dinner?
Hey, dude.
Damn,
yeah,
bro.
Man. Hey, they were pushing those got milk commercials.
I couldn't imagine eating like
I can't imagine drinking a glass of milk.
Right now?
Yeah, even right now. Like, you want a cold glass? Like, no.
Yeah, right.
I'm
think,
good.
I think we should start drinking milk. That's when our problems started happening, when people stopped drinking milk.
Yeah.
Now we got.
Hey, well, it's also it's hard to get good access to good dairy as well, man. You know, it's like we're lucky here to have a farm in the area that sells raw dairy, and we can buy raw milk, raw cream, all that. It's like, dude, I'm in for that. I'll drink a glass of that. But you go to the store and buy a carton of milk, and you realize that there's 30 grams of sugar per serving or whatever. You're like, wait, why the fuck you putting sugar in milk, dude? Like, what?
It's a big problem. It's a big problem for sure.
You look at the ingredients label, and it's just like 10 different things. And you're like, man, I'm pretty sure you just milked the cow.
There you go.
At least that's what I saw when I was a kid in this farming village.
Right.
And that was a trip, man, getting like warm milk straight from the cow.
Yeah, that's
like, you want to
crazy.
try it? And you're like, yeah. It's like frothy. It looks like cappuccino, dude.
Right. You're like, we're allowed to do this?
Yeah.
Because over here in the States, they're like,
Yeah, we don't have to centrifuge it and homogenize it. Like,
exactly.
No. Everything that it eats is right outside. We don't feed it anything else except for that grass. We're like,
Right.
holy shit. It's like so much like butter, fat, and cream. It's like almost chewy milk. You're like,
Chewy milk's the shit. I wish there was more. If we had that dairy available, there'd probably be more interesting like bread courses and shit. Like different ways to manipulate that. You know.
Yeah, I think it's hard too, because now it's like people require you or want you to do so much. We had some raw dairy here for a while. We did like just like a raw dairy panna cotta dessert.
Yeah.
And we had to put on our menu, you know, be careful, it's raw dairy, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, it's so crazy to me. You have to warn someone they're eating milk, how it should be, but I could put, insert any chemical in my food, and I don't have to tell you that.
Yeah, you
don't have to tell you that I
say
put red 40 in my...
Damn, don't say that, bro, because like off this podcast, they'll be like, all right, the new mandate. It'd be like consuming xanthan gum, fucking Ultratex 3, fucking, you know, down the line, just like, I mean, I know it's all based on seaweed, so I can't be that horrible for you. I bet, and concentrated. Because I always thought, like, what if there'd be sometimes I'd be having a bad day at work, right? It's just like getting crushed by my sous chefs and like not gonna be ready on time. It's 3:30, like staff meal's up at 4, and I'm like, man. Just like I know that I'm not gonna be prepped out till 6:30, and I'm gonna get yelled at for the first hour of service.
Oh yeah.
And it's gonna be fine, whatever.
And there's hands there to help you to make sure you're ready, but it's like no.
Yeah, because the second you ask them, that like they hold that shit over for like a week.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Lucky it's a week.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's why everybody's like,
last month.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, you Brunoise a shallot for me.
Yeah,
dude.
exactly.
Like, what?
They're like, well, now I need to borrow your car, so
you got to drive me to the hospital now.
It's only right. There you go. I forgot what fucking point I was trying to make. What were we talking about before then?
Of putting chemicals in food, and you weren't going to be set up on that.
Oh, right. And so I just thought, like, what if I just take a mouthful of xanthan gum? Like, what if I just swallow xanthan gum? I think you could choke and die. I mean, wouldn't that stuff like...
If you can almost die eating cinnamon, you could definitely die eating xanthan
right.
gum.
I think that shit would just, like, all the water in your throat would suck it all up, and you just, like, you're done. You know?
Thicken your throat up.
Yeah, exactly. So, morbid thoughts while you're cooking, but that's where I was at the time. And so you're in Paris. Are your parents pushing any careers on you at that point when you're little? Like,
no,
really want you to do this?
My parents were always very supportive of what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
I think that my parents definitely knew that someone was going to have to go, or not have to, but it would be ideal for them if someone went into this business. My parents have had restaurants for the last, like, I think my dad's restaurant he's had right now is 47 or 48 years old. And then he's had restaurants before that with his family. So it was definitely like, hey, one of you two, it would be nice if you went into this industry. But I told my parents I was going to be a realtor. I remember I was like 5. I was like 5, and my parents were like, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to be one of those people that sells the houses and makes a lot of money.
How did you know what a realtor was at 5 years old? Like, I had no idea what that was. Till I knew what a lawyer was because they were on TV all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew what the cops were. I knew what the firefighters were.
Yeah.
The Marines.
There's a hell of a lot of
commercials.
realtors in Carmel, man. You see a realtor sign every other.
Right. I guess I never really thought of it because I didn't start seeing the faces on the signs until recently. And by recently, I mean like maybe 15 years. But when I was little, it would just say Century 21.
Yeah.
And the name of the person.
Yeah.
Now it's like
Sotheby's
the
or
picture.
whatever. Yep.
You know, is like a more
This
common
person,
thing.
well, it's, you always feel bad too. It's like, I'll be the one to say, man, when you have the realtor that puts their face on the poster and you're like, dude, you got a face for radio, man. Like,
Bro. Based off your face, I will not buy this property.
Man. The person across the street, I'll buy with them.
Yeah, right. Hey, it is what it is. Sex sells. You gotta catfish if you're a real estate agent that's ugly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, whether you're catfishing the home or
There you go.
whatever, they're staging it up well. But yeah, I told my parents I was going to be a realtor. I never sold a house, man. I never studied for a realty exam. And actually got into cooking, I don't want to say by chance, but I worked in my parents' restaurants for a long time growing up, high school. And then actually when I left high school, I signed up for culinary school in San Francisco at the Cordon Bleu. And I was there for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I remember when I signed up, we're like going through the meeting. And the president of the school at that point was like, you know, you can sign up. And one of their sales pitches, if you will, was like, if you don't like it after 2 weeks, we'll give you your money back. Like, you have a money back guarantee. And my dad loves hearing money back guarantee, especially with his kids. It's like, dude, if you change your mind and I'm fucking out all this money.
Right.
He's like, sweet. So there's like a little bit of safety here.
Right.
And I don't know, man. I've never been one that really enjoyed being told what to do. Oddly enough, getting into this industry, but played sports and I enjoyed it in that sense because it's like, hey, just tell me what you need me to do. So, you know, I'm going to culinary school and it's like, put on your neckerchief. Make sure you're like, and you're like, dude, what?
Yeah,
like,
what
does this
neckerchief
have to do? And I mean, I understand what it has to do, but I thought I was here to learn how to cook, man.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, it's like, well, you have to take computer classes, you have to take math classes, you have to take English class. I'm like, I just graduated high school. Like,
Right.
the fuck you mean I have to take
I'm
English
good at
class?
English.
I just took computers.
Right.
What? Well, unless you have a college degree, you can't test out of it, so you have to take it. And at this point, I'm like, all right, dude, we're on day like 12. I'm in English class. I'm peeling carrots.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think this is going to be it, dude. I think that maybe this wasn't the right choice for me.
Right.
So I end up telling my parents, I'm like, hey, you know, it's like day 13. I really don't think this is for me. It just doesn't seem like the right fit. And I don't particularly care like waking up at 4:30 in the morning to make sure I'm whatever at the Cordon Bleu by 5:30 with my fucking neckerchief on.
Yeah, and you're pressed.
Yeah, your pressed chef's coat and your god.
You've already worked at a restaurant. You didn't have to do any of that probably at those restaurants.
Well, no, and I worked at front of house when I first started. So I just worked in the front of house with my parents. But you know, like you're wearing those like checkered chef pants and those big old clunky shoes and your fucking triple XL chef coat you're drowning in.
I'm ready.
Yeah, with your fucking knife roll they force you to buy with knives you'll never use.
I really do think we need to think fashion first when we think about culinary schools.
Yeah, I wish they would have told you could cook just as well in a t-shirt.
That's exactly. Or just like tight, like get pants that fit you. Your pants don't have to be like balloons or parachutes.
Yeah.
And
it's actually like more of a hazard.
Yeah, for sure. And chef coat sizing. Like, get it together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm sick and tired of this shit. It's like, who is this made for? You know? It's like super big up top, but it's very short.
Yeah.
Like,
or they're really boxy. You feel like you're like in that Kanye West music video.
For sure. Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
Recently, I wore some Chef Works jackets, long sleeve, zipper. Zipper behind the
Wow.
breast. Yeah, bad because
Doesn't get hot?
double-breasted. You couldn't do it. No, it wasn't hot at all. I had it vented.
No, like
back.
the zipper doesn't get hot?
No, because it's like behind the flap.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty dope. And it had these like a button to hold your sleeve when you.
Oh, that's fucking
Yeah.
game changer.
And
that's
the
apron
apron,
thing,
yeah.
so you're not like
Yeah,
shrugging your neck the whole time.
you're doing that.
My dad he'll see me at work. He's like, "You have like a fucking nervous twitch?" I'm like, "No, dude, my apron's on my neck and it's annoying."
Right,
It's like, well,
exactly.
you look like you have a problem.
Yeah,
Well-
you're like I do.
Yeah, that I do have.
There you go.
So yeah, man, finished culinary school. Told my parents not for me. I don't think it's a good fit. We went through the process of getting like the refund.
Yeah.
It wasn't as easy as they claimed.
Of course, it's not.
I had so many meetings with my parents and the president of the school, and the president of the school is like, if you drop out of this school, you will never make it in life. I think the
That's
cordon
what they
bleu-
told you on Le Cordon Bleu.
Yeah, straight up.
Bro,
Straight up.
come on.
I forget the guy's first name. His last name was like Silva.
Wait, didn't that whole company
No, it's
go under for
yeah.
some shit?
Hell yeah, they did.
Did you get paid out for that?
No, I didn't get
That-
my
the
25
class
cents in the
action
class
lawsuit?
action. I think I wasn't there long enough to qualify for it.
Okay, gotcha.
But-
What was the whole thing about it? Because you went to this school, right? Did it seem like a sham to you?
Oh, I think that. Well, it's a totally different topic, man. But I think anywhere that you have to pay $65,000 a year to go get a job when you're out of it and get paid $15 an hour is
Yeah.
a fucking scam.
65 grand.
Yeah.
Le Cordon Bleu is a 6-month program, no?
I think
Or is it
this
2 years?
was like a year and a half because they were going to give you
60 G's for a year and a half, bro.
Yeah, and it was like
That's crazy.
Not a bachelor's.
Yeah.
Some random degree that would not transfer anywhere if you wanted to like try to do that. So I left. The Cordon Bleu went under. So if he's listening, whatever your name was, we made it just fine without going to the Cordon Bleu.
Right. Was this guy a chef before, or
No,
is
dude,
he just like
was
the
some
president
dude
of
in
the
a
school?
suit that ran the school.
Right.
Yeah.
He's probably at like Johnson & Wales right now or the CIA. So if you hear this and you're dealing with the same guy, fuck him.
Yeah.
All right. There
Yeah,
you
you're
go.
gonna be good. So I left culinary school, dude. I went back home trying to figure out at that point, whatever, I was still 18. It's like, what am I gonna do? I'll go to school.
Yeah.
Like, fuck it. I'll go to college. I'm gonna go try to figure out what to do. And ended up getting recruited to go play NCAA lacrosse. Played lacrosse in high school. And was like, all right, whatever. I'll just go back to playing sports, do that whole thing. And I went to a small university up in the Bay Area, a small Catholic school called Notre Dame de Namur that I didn't really know anything about. Went and visited it. You're like, oh, this is a nice campus. Super small. Like, I don't know. There's probably like 1,800 kids in the school.
Yeah.
Tiny school.
Yeah.
So it was great. Played a season there. Did the whole school thing, the whole college experience. And then after my first year there, they're like, all right, so just so you're aware, starting your second year, you've got to start taking chapel classes and you've got to start taking, because whatever, you're at a Catholic university.
Right.
I was like, fuck, I just came here to play sports, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Like we feel you might be a little
yeah.
bit satanic.
I'm at peace with myself, dude. I'm cool. Like, I'm not doing all this crazy stuff. I play
Yeah.
sports. I go home. I play
Right.
some like FIFA in my dorm room.
Yeah. You're
Smoke
like-
a blunt.
You're like, I'm already doing it.
Yeah, I think I'm good. And then, I played there for a year, man. And after that, I was like, all right, well, I don't think that this is necessarily it for me either. I don't really know what to do. And I think it's hard for a lot of young people when you're 18 years old for someone to go to you and say, like, all right, pick now what you're going to do for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You graduate high school, or at least for me, it's like I graduated high school. It's like, all right, like I finally get to go, I don't know, not do what I want, but like go experience what I want to go experience. And for me, traveling was something that I always really enjoyed. I think I was 15, 16 the first time. I was 15 when my parents were like, you can go on a trip by yourself. So
Yeah.
every year I'd work for my parents. I'd save up. Summertime would come. I'd buy a ticket to Europe or whatever, go to Europe for like a month, go travel and come back.
Yeah.
So that was definitely something I was like, well, maybe I'll just continue to travel, go do that. But I've got to save some money up before I can go do that again. And was working for my family again in the front of house at their restaurant in Carmel at that point. And found myself just like standing in the kitchen more and more. just like watching people cook. And I was like, there's something about this that's very like that I'm attracted to. And I don't know if it was just at that point growing up, my mom cooked dinner every single night for us. Always ate dinner at home, and it was always a big part of our family was food. But I always gravitated to the kitchen, and I would get yelled at by like the manager, or my parents would be like, dude, like you're getting paid to do something. You can't just be standing here. Like, yeah, but like that looks, I don't know, it looks fun. Like, and I don't have to deal with all these old ass cranky people. And like these guys just get to like bang it out back here and cook amazing meals, and we get to eat all this. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to give the cooking thing another shot, but I am going to go and just try to get a job. Like, I'm just going to try to get a job in a kitchen and see what it's all about. And my parents at that point, their friend in the city had a restaurant. I think he closed down a couple years ago, called Piperad on Battery. It's just like a Basque restaurant. And he was a super well-known chef back in the like 80s and 90s. Really, really, really talented. And just called him and was like, hey, man, I want to learn how to cook. I don't want to go to culinary school. Will you hire me? Or I'll work for free. I don't care. But like, let me come for a month and just come and like check it out. So I went there, was there for probably like 2 months, just kind of like helping out, doing whatever, dude. Fucking chopping all the boring stuff, doing all the stuff that nobody wanted to do,
Putting
cleaning
shit away.
Yeah, a lot of that
Break
shit.
down
man.
the whole order.
Yeah, put the order away, and you're like, all right, cool. Cut tomatoes.
The other order's here.
Yeah. No, the dry goods got here.
Right. Yeah.
And after like a month and a half of doing that, I was like, all right, this is cool. Like, it's fast paced. It's interesting. This is fun. And a buddy of mine or two friends of mine were actually running a restaurant in Oakland at that point called Plum. That was Daniel Patterson's restaurant.
Yeah.
And my buddy was like, dude, if you want, just come out here. You can like work with us for however long you want. Just fucking come hang out. It's like, all right, let's go check it out. Let's go see what this is. And that was my first real experience into like a real, I don't want to say a real kitchen, but like a real kitchen, if you will, with like a lot of young people where, you know, you have one of the sous chefs that's just covered from neck to toe in tattoos, face tats. And she was fucking badass, dude. This chick was honestly probably one of the best cooks I've ever worked with in my life. Not the nicest person when you didn't know her. I think my first day I was like standing there watching her and she's like, get the fuck away from me. Like, holy shit.
Approach with caution, chef.
Ended up being like the nicest person.
Right.
So nice.
That's how it is in the kitchen, man. Because
you know, cutthroat.
You waste your fucking time on a lot of people.
Yeah.
Hell
yeah.
You know, you mentor somebody for fucking 2 weeks, and then they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. You know, and that's honestly sometimes when that's happened to me or whatever, I blame myself because I'm like, I didn't
teach them well enough, or I didn't capture their attention.
I did not give them my intention. I didn't say like, hey, sometimes this is going to be hard. Sometimes like we're not going to be nice to each other. You know, and it's not like a disrespect thing or whatever it is. Like, I'll never personally attack you. But like people
don't take work personally.
Exactly. And people are paying good money to come here, sit down, and the shit that we make, they put in their mouth. Like,
yeah, they chew that shit.
Think about that's what I'm saying. They shit it out. You know, like you're still part of their life the next day, whatever it is. So it's like you really gotta, you know, it's really important that you grasp that concept if you're gonna do this. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there that cook in kitchens or whatever that don't think about that at all. And,
for sure, man.
Yeah, not everyone in food should be in food. No, I always say that, but it's like, you know what I mean?
Man, that is the truth.
Yeah, for sure.
And
for sure. You were working at this restaurant. What did they have you do?
So I think that, I got there and they're like, you're going to work Garmo. And I was like, I don't even know what that is. And they're like, you're going to go work next to the stove where they plate desserts and make salads. I was like, all right, cool. And it's so funny, man, when you start cooking, or at least for myself when I started cooking, and you start like prepping dishes out or prepping stuff, and it's like we had like a rutabaga soup on the menu, I want to say at that point. And like you make this soup, you follow the recipe, and you're like, dude, I fucking nailed it. Like, And they're like, all right, dude, so you've got like 10 other things to do now. Like, fuck. I just figured out how to make soup well. Or like, I just figured out how to make coffee oil. I'm fucking Ferran Adria. So started there on Garmo, ended up working Garmo, a little bit of saute. I was there for probably like 6 months, I want to say.
Yeah.
And my parents got a gift certificate from one of their friends, for my cousin, actually, I think, to go to Quince. And my parents at that point, my brother was in Boston going to school already. So my parents were like, hey, we're going to go to this restaurant. We got a gift certificate. Do you want to come with us?
Yeah.
And I think at that point, Quince had 1 star. Yeah, they had 1 star at that point. So we go eat dinner. And I'd never been to a Michelin. I'd never been to a dining experience like that before.
Yeah.
And we're eating, man, and I remember we're just like, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy. Like, how did you do this? And I think one of the courses was like white asparagus in like a Wellington of white asparagus with like sauce Vangel, I want to say, and morels. And having this course, like, whoa, this is insane. Like, you guys do this with so many courses of food, and that everything's so thoughtful. Everything is put there for a reason. Like, this is fucking wild. And I remember having our meal, having dessert, and looking through the I think I stood at the kitchen window outside on the street there at Quince for probably like 10 minutes, just like staring in.
Yeah.
And my parents are behind me, kind of just like, here, we'll wait, do your thing, you know?
Right.
And my parents' good friends are the chef and owners of Foreign Cinema. And Gail, I feel bad, don't remember the husband's name. I don't know Gail. And they had reached out to them, and I was like, hey, you know, what do you think it would take to be able to work in a restaurant like this? Like, how do you even get into places like this? How do you even get your foot in the door? And she was like, hey, you know, I'll set up a meeting. I know Michael Tusk. I'll set up a meeting. You guys can meet and chat. I was like, all right, cool. Wow. Like, thank you so much. And I go, whatever it was, the day, the time, to Quince to go have this meeting. And I sit down in Katonia at the bar and like, you know, how can we help you? I was like, well, I'm supposed to have a meeting with, and at that point, I'm still young. Should have said Chef Tusk. I'm like, with Michael Tusk. And they're like, the fuck are you?
Looking at him,
Like,
must be a journalist, fucking asshole.
you're an elite Yelper?
Yeah, right.
So they're like, all right, 1 second. And this guy comes out. And I'm like, you're not the dude that I've seen to be Michael Tusk.
Right. You're not
Like,
Mikey T.
Yeah, like,
You're not.
who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
And turns out the guy's like, I'm Johnny Black. And I was like, oh, what's up?
Johnny Black,
How are you?
Cuisinier.
That's him. That's him.
Follow him on Instagram.
So I'm like talking to this guy, and he's like, what do you want?
Yeah.
I was like, well, I was supposed to have a meeting with Michael Tusk. And he's like, well, you and I are having the meeting. I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
Cool.
Chef.
He's like, you know, I'm the chef de cuisine here. I was like, I don't even know what that is, dude. But sounds badass. Like, cool. I'm coming from a totally different world of sports, man.
Yeah.
And he's like, so what do you want? I was like, well, I want to learn how to cook. And, you know, I've worked for my parents, and I've worked for the last few years. I've saved some money up. I don't really have any experience aside from the 6 months across the Bay Bridge making rutabaga soup and shit like that. But I really want to learn how to do this. I'll work for free for 6 months. Like, I don't care. I just want to work here. And he kind of looked at me like, you'll work for free? I was like, well, yeah, I don't really have any experience to pitch myself to you.
His eyes just
So like, bro, I just want to work. Oh,
like,
this guy.
I haven't heard that in 10 years. My student, come to me.
Yeah, come here.
Open the walk-in. Let him see what we have.
So he kind of looks at me, and he's like, cool, you start tomorrow at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm like, in my head, I'm like, fuck. I just built up this thing, and it was just like, 5 a.m. Fuck. Yeah. All right.
At Quince.
Shit. So I go home. Fucking, all right, dude. I'm gonna fucking pass out and whatever. Get ready to go to work at 5 o'clock in the morning. So show up at the back door at Quince at 5 a.m., like put the code in or whatever, fucking go upstairs, change, go downstairs in the kitchen, and Johnny's nowhere to be found. Like, where the fuck is this dude? This guy told me to come here, and it's like, what the fuck? And I get introduced to the morning sous chef. His name was Henry Zamora, I want to say, who coincidentally is from Salinas here.
Okay. Henry Zamora.
He's in New York now.
Okay.
He's running last I saw, he was running a really cool Mexican restaurant. Looked awesome.
Shout out to him.
So he's like, yeah, dude, I'm the sous chef here. I just heard that you're going to come here. I was like, cool, sweet. And I think my first job, they were like, you're going to juice Concord grapes. I was like, all right, like how? And I remember he's like, just grab the cheesecloth, put the grapes in the cheesecloth, and fucking start squeezing. I'm like, okay, cool. And probably like a month
of squeezing
a
grape
month,
juice.
month and a half of just like doing that shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like slicing grapes and using tweezers to pull out the seeds and make sure that you have 350 pieces of grape, whatever, coins, the size of a penny.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck? All right, pick this, pick that. I know all the shit that you got to do.
Yeah.
And I
So
was like,
much
dude, this
deli
is
paper. A lot of deli paper.
yeah, man, dude. Yeah, not sustainable.
Exactly.
Not sustainable.
Yeah, that's not.
And did that for, I don't know, dude, like a month and a half or whatever. And then Johnny at that point is like, you're gonna work service with us. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, I don't even know what that means, but it sounds sick.
Yeah.
Like, let's do it.
You're moving to the big time.
Yeah, where are we? What's this service?
Right.
He's like, yeah, so, you're going to come in now at, whatever, 11 instead of 5. Fuck, dude, my first, 2 or 3 months actually my whole time, probably, to be honest with you. I should have still come in at 5 o'clock to be set up on time. And I get put on Carmel, and I'm training with this girl, and she's, showing me all this stuff. And I'm just like, dude, how the fuck do you guys get all this shit done?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? It's like, make sure you spin the lemon sorbet every day before service. I'm like, what? I can't just spin it for a week? Like, no. Oh, fuck. All right, dude. And I ended up being at Quince for, I don't know, dude, 8 or 9 months or something like that. And it was like putting your mouth on a fire hydrant of just like, you want, and in any industry, it's like, you want to learn your industry, go to one of the top levels. I think is probably the best way to learn and see if you really want to do it. But fuck, dude, it's overwhelming. And you're just like, holy shit. And at that point, I'm 19. I think I'm 19 or something, almost 20 years old. And I kind of had a moment of bro, I don't know if I'm going to do this. I got to figure this out now, because I feel like even just this last year that I've invested in this has been pretty intense. So I want to make sure that this is really what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I remember talking to my parents, and I was like, I think that, I think I want to do this. I'm not sure, but I just need a bit of a change of pace. This is super fucking intense.
Yeah.
And I remember putting my notice in at Quince, and I was just like, look, I'm going to move on. This has been awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Was Johnny Black like, fuck you?
So it was my first time having to quit a job, because I worked for my parents before, and quitting with my parents was, hey, dude, I'm not going to come to work in 2 weeks,
Right,
Dad.
right.
He'd be like, yeah, no problem. Don't worry about it.
No problem, son.
Yeah. And I remember I was like, dude, I've got to put my 2-week notice in.
Yeah.
And it's like that thing. I feel like once you want to quit somewhere, it's kind of festers in your head. And the hardest part is just having the conversation.
Yeah.
And I remember I put my notice in with the sous chef, because Johnny wasn't there that day.
Right.
And the guy was just like, yeah, all right, dude. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
He forgets.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And the next day, Johnny comes up to me. He's back at work, and he's like, hey, dude, let's chat. I'm like, all right. I heard that you're, whatever, you put your notice in, you want to move on, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, dude. In my head, I'm like, I'm 19 years old. I have no fucking idea what I'm doing, man. I'm trying to figure life out. I just need a break. And he's like, all right, well, no problem. I'll tell Chef Tusk and we'll kind of go from there and, stick out your last 2 weeks or whatever. I was like, all right, cool. And I come to work the next day and we had like our pre-shift meeting every day. It's like everyone comes in, everyone's standing around the pass. We're going to go over the cover count, the dietaries, the blah, blah, blah. And we get to like finishing the dietaries, and then Johnny's like, and I just want to let everybody know that today is going to be Klaus's last day. Thank you so much for being here with us, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I still got like 13 days left. Like, okay, all right, cool. And he pulls me aside after, and he's like, they want you to be done today. I'm like, okay. Cool. All right. No problem.
Right.
No worries. So I guess today's my last day.
Yeah, that's some hardcore shit to go through, bro.
Yeah, and then it's like,
that's a cutthroat company, man. They're like, oh, yeah, he doesn't want to fucking be here. Yeah. Get him out of here today.
And they're like, just come back. Now as I'm saying it, looking at it, HR and legality-wise is a bit complicated. We're like, come back and get your check in a couple days. I'm like, wait.
I don't think it was a law then.
Yeah.
That you have
you're supposed to give it to me right now.
they have to be fired by
but I guess it wasn't really being fired. It was just like you're being excused.
Yeah. We're not mad at you. We're just disappointed. Okay.
Yeah. So I come back like a couple days later.
Yeah.
And it's like, Chef Tusk would like to talk to you and give you your last check. And we sit there and talk, man. And it was, I could understand now as a business owner where it's like, dude, we've invested time into you. It kind of sucks that you're leaving, And he wasn't happy. But was understanding, dude, and I respect where he was coming from, and it was just like, it sucks that you're going. We had plenty of opportunity and room for you to grow here. It's really too bad. Like, here's your check. Thank you so much. It's like, fuck, I kind of feel bad now.
Right.
But thank you.
Do you still feel bad to this day?
No, bro. I offered to work for free for 6 months. The fuck? Like.
Did they?
No, I got paid after 2 weeks.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I worked for free for 2 weeks, and then they were like, legally and like insurance wise, you can't work for free in this country. You got to get paid.
Yeah, for sure.
So, ended up leaving there.
Yeah.
Went back home, worked for my parents for probably another 6 months. Just started saving money up again, and then when I was at Quince, Johnny had just come back. I think he like staged at Noma, did like a tour of Europe, and he staged at Wulf in Belgium.
Yeah.
And when I was I remember they did a dish at Quince that was like fermented kohlrabi, like salad or something like that. And I'm like in the walk-in, he's like, it takes 2 weeks to ferment the kohlrabi, so you got to make sure that you're on top of it with 2% salt. And I'm like, this guy's a fucking scientist.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? And tasting this like fermented celery root, you're like, dude, this is crazy.
Right.
Like, where did you learn how to do this? He's like, oh, you're Belgian. It's in Belgium. It's called Wulf. You should like try to go there if you can. It'll totally change the way that you view things. It's like, all right. So I sent him an email, and dude, we probably went back and forth for like a year and a half because it was like, you need to commit to like a month to 3 months.
Yeah.
And then it would be like, well, we have space for you now, but I couldn't go, or I could go, and they didn't have room.
Got it.
Back and forth.
Yeah, they had a whole stage fucking.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
cycle.
they have stages set at that point for like a year. They're already all set.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how it all worked out until I gotten there. And I was dating a girl at that point in the area, and then I get this email that's like, "Hey, we have room for you, but we only have room for 3 weeks." And it's like, I'm gonna fucking go.
All right.
So told my parents at that point, hey, I got the opportunity to go work at this restaurant, so I'm gonna leave in like and at that point I didn't know how soon it was. I think it was like a week. Like in a week I'm getting on a plane and going. So kind of like packed my bags, dumped my girlfriend, got on a plane, flew to Belgium, landed.
She wasn't gonna hold out for 3 weeks, bro.
It's not that she wasn't going to hold out for 3 weeks.
You weren't.
But it just was...
right. It was time.
It was time. Yeah. I don't know that story is relevant.
All good.
But, so end up, whatever, splitting off from my girlfriend. I'm like, all right, dude, I'm going to go to Europe. This is the perfect out. Like, I'm going to go and fucking let my hair down and go be 20 years old in Europe.
Yeah.
Or however old I was at that point. And so I go, land in Amsterdam, hop on a train, go into Belgium, and hop on a train, get to Ghent, get to this tiny town called Ypres. And then they're like, once you get to Ypres, you got to call a taxi, and they're going to take you to Dranouter, where Indewolf is. I'm like, all right. I'm like looking up the town names. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, Dranouter? What the hell is this?
Yeah.
Hop in a taxi, drive another like 25 minutes into this little town. They drop me off at this fucking house that's like, dude, it looks like it's out of a movie, just surrounded by corn and sugar beet fields, like on a corner. And it's like the corner and then cornfields around you. You're like, what the fuck? And there's like a couple, or the house was empty when I got there. I go in and I'm like walking around. I'm like, I don't even know where to put my shit. But like I walk around and there's like a couple rooms upstairs, and then there's like a staircase to go to the upstairs, and there's like 2 fucking beds like on the ground with like a paper divide in between them.
Yeah.
And I hear people getting to the house. I go downstairs and they're like, oh, what's up, dude? Who are you? You know, we're blah, blah, blah. This is like one of the stagiaire houses.
Yeah.
Only guys sleep here. And then the other stagiaire house is like guys and girls. But this is all dudes that live here. And it was like a 3-bedroom house with like 10 of us sleeping in this house. And
Wait, sleeping like on the floor and shit? Or they
bro,
I
I slept on a fucking like futon mattress pad on the floor at the top of the staircase for like 3 weeks or something.
Right.
So I get there and like, all right, dude, we're all going to go to work tomorrow, but like just chill out today. You know, there's not a whole lot to do out here, so just chill out. And I'm like, all right, well, thank fuck I brought like a bag full of weed from Amsterdam. I'm just going to smoke a joint and chill out. Like, where's the nearest store? And they're like, well, it's like a 15-minute walk up the road, but it's not really a store. It's a bakery that just sells like random shit too. Like, okay. Is there anything else in this town? They're like, no, that's it. And you're like, fuck, sweet. They're like, well, there's a gas station up the road. But it's technically in France, and it's like whatever, a quarter mile. If that, you cross the French border.
You gotta cross the border
at this gas station where you could buy like cigarettes. And
you gotta take your passport with you to go to the gas station. It's like you fucking.
So I end up there, man. We go to work the next day, and it's this unreal property, dude. Beautiful restaurant, beautiful kitchen, and yeah, it was just like super picturesque, man, this restaurant. And we get there, meet everybody, start working, and it's like first thing in the morning, we get there. All right, the foraging team splits off. A bunch of us are going to go foraging. Whatever, one person will go to the farm to go pick up the order.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back here and we'll get ready to work and whatever when we have all the stuff. And every single morning we would break off into like 2 teams, whoever had a driver's license.
Yeah.
And there was like myself included, 3 other cooks that could drive out of a team of like 20 people. So it's like, all right, load in the cars, whatever. You just got here, you're driving the car. Just fucking go where they tell you to go. It's like, all right. And it's like, you know, go pick 300 pieces of sheep sorrel today and like 500 oxalis, and you're going to need to find woodier mushrooms on the dead elder trees. But we don't buy anything like that. So you got to go find it. And it's on our menu. Don't come back until you have it. And you're like, all right, well, this is fucking wild. Like, I got to go find all the ingredients out in the wild. And what happens if the spots are dry? And like, what happens if there's no woodiers? It's like, no, you're going to go find them. It's like, oh, fuck, all right, dude. And ended up having my 2 or 3 week stage there. I think after the second week, I am in the walk-in, like in the meat fridge, like grabbing something. I don't fucking remember what. And Koba, the chef of Indewolf, comes in and he's like, you have Belgian passport, right? It's like, yeah. He's like, well, you know, how have you liked your time here? I was like, yeah, it's been great. Like, it's been awesome, dude. This place is incredible. I've never worked in a restaurant like this before. You know, I'm just super thankful for the opportunity to get to come here. And he's like, well, you just want a job? Like, you want to stay? I was like, yeah, dude, I packed a bag for 2 weeks, man. But yeah, fuck yeah, I'll stay.
It's like, we got laundry machines.
Yeah, I was like, the only thing I got to do is I got to go to my godson's baptism next month. And like, I just have to go to that. But if you're willing to hire me and let me leave for like 6 days, I'll come right back and we'll continue on. He's like, yeah, no problem, dude. Just go do your thing. But we want you to join the team here. I was like, sweet.
Out of the team, how many are stagiaires and how many are employees?
So there were 5 CDPs that were paid to sous chefs. And then we would have anywhere between, I think the lowest we ever had was like 5 stagiaires. And I think the most we ever had was like 15.
And those stagiaires are all working for free?
Yeah. They work for free.
For like a year?
For a month to 3 months.
A month to 3 months. Okay, gotcha.
But you got housing, you got fed. We got fed. I've never eaten as well as I've ever eaten at any restaurant.
Really?
Like, family meals there were unreal, super well thought out. Everything, whatever, you're eating the same ingredients that we're feeding guests. It's like, no, we're going to eat really well here because we all eat one meal a day. But yeah, man, 20 people, whatever, 15, 20 people that would work for free all day long in the name of gaining knowledge and learning how to ferment stuff.
I wonder why he doesn't get as much flack as homeboy Renee does. You know what I mean? It's like the same shit. And I don't understand it because I'm like, half the fucking people decided to go. Like, they said,
I think the big
I'm
thing,
gonna go.
My assumption, or I could only imagine, is that Noma has a fuck ton of money. So it's like, you could pay these people.
Oh, got it.
Like,
got it.
you know,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, you got a fuck ton of money. You could pay these people. Where Wulf wasn't that way.
Yeah.
Like, he had a phenomenal restaurant, but not in any bad or mean way, but like, business-wise was not smart. I think we had like a 60% food cost. But he was just like, I want to do what I want to do. I don't fucking care. I'm going to cook the cool shit that I want. And if it costs a lot of money, I don't give a shit.
Right.
And you're like,
well, you're only paying 8 people out of the 35 that you guys.
And it was funny because we had a schedule on the wall that was like, I think my schedule was 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. But we worked 5 days a week from 8 a.m. to 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, fucking all the time. And he's like, well, you know, if anyone ever comes, like, that's your schedule. So just make sure you know it. I'm like, all right, dude. I've never gotten out of here at 4 o'clock in my life.
So Chef Kobo was legitimately like, I know this is fucked up and not legal, but we're going to do it anyway.
Hey, we're fucking doing it.
Hey,
so
whatever.
we got paid for half of our time, whatever. Dude, the amount that I learned and invaluable, like, can't put a price on it. But I've never worked for somebody as well that took such good care of their staff. And I think that for me, once I started seeing a very different style of cuisine, like, I've never experienced that style of food before, with an ideology that was very, like, a lot of people here, like we were talking about earlier, man, sustainability is a very important thing. But there, we only used ingredients that grew in Belgium. So, like, black pepper doesn't grow here. You're never going to use it. Lemons, we don't use lemons here because lemons don't grow here. I think the thing that we got from the furthest away was like our rapeseed oil that came from like a really nice farm an hour away. Everything came from within Belgium right there. So it was pretty impressive to see, like, okay, you only cook with what's here.
Yeah.
Like, this is wild. And we had a 25-course menu that could change, like, dude, 10 courses could change in a day. And Kobo would walk in, you'd have your food prepped, and he'd walk up and be like, sometimes in the middle of service, like, I'm over that, don't want to make that anymore. Yeah. It's like, dude, I'm cooking like half a lamb right now for the whole restaurant for mains. He's like, I really want to cook these ducks that we got, so I'm going to fucking start cooking duck. And you're like, do you have a set? He's like, I'll do all of it. Don't worry, I fucking got it. So it was very, like, on the fly cooking at that level, which I'd never experienced before, especially coming from a restaurant like Quince where it's so, make sure you have this, make sure you have that. And I remember going to Wulf and being like, having tweezers out, and Kobo's just like, throw those fucking things away. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, we don't fucking use that shit here. He's like, thermometers, tweezers. We don't use any of that fucking shit here. Get rid of it. Don't take it out again.
Yeah. Use your hands and a knife.
We cook food here.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, dude, this guy's fucking hardcore.
I mean, I don't know. I don't agree.
Yeah.
I like a good tweezer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We had like tongs for cooking, but he's like, when you're like plating, fucking use your hands.
Well, my hands run hot. So I
so did this kitchen.
I kill the herbs. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like,
the bull's blood's dying.
Yeah, I got to, bro.
Yeah.
You know, same with chocolate. I can't work with chocolate because it just fucking melts in my hand. Like we used to have like malleable desserts, so we used to have to like form into a cake.
Fuck yeah, man.
And it'd just be like, fucking, and I'd be like, bro, don't put me on this task. I run too hot. All right.
So yeah, dude, worked with that guy. I was supposed to be there for like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Ended up working for him for like 2.5, almost 3 years, I want to say.
Damn.
And it was great, man. Honestly.
Where does he live?
He lives in Belgium still.
No, I'm saying, does he live next to the restaurant or like at the town over?
He lived like two cornfields away from us. I'd say 2 blocks, but 2 cornfields away. And he had bought in this house in the town that used to be like the brewery at one, like hundreds of years ago. It used to be like an abbey. And he bought that, had like old farm stable where they used to make the beer, where they used to like mill the wheat and everything. And then he would ride his fucking like blacked out Harley to the restaurant.
Yeah.
Every morning you'd see him fucking pull up in his like Harley or whatever. And it was funny because we would once every 6 months, I want to say, we'd feed the entire police department. Mm-hmm. Like the whole local police department would come and we'd cook them lunch, and they would get yeah, right, all 5 of the janitor or whatever, and they would come, they would eat their meal, and they wouldn't pay. And I'm like, the police just comes and eats here for free.
Yeah, and they don't pay.
What the fuck is going on?
And they're having extravagant tasting menus.
No, they're having a 25-course menu, wine pairing, fucking everything.
That's crazy.
And he's like, I don't have a motorcycle license. And I'm not going to take the test to get one. So I just invite the police, they eat for free, and I ride my motorcycle.
Damn.
And they don't fucking say anything. And you're like, this motherfucker got it figured out.
For sure.
This guy got it figured out. You barter. Like, I like this shit, dude.
Mm-hmm. He's a hustler, bro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man.
And the Wulf, baby.
He didn't live too far away. Taught us a lot, for sure. Mm-hmm. Took incredibly good care of us. He wasn't one that liked to I'm not going to go party by myself, so I'm going to bring my entire staff with me.
Yeah.
So there'd be nights where he's like, hey, we're going to go to this fucking nightclub in like the city, in like Ghent or whatever. Mm-hmm.
How far away is that?
Ghent was 45 minutes away, and he had 2 restaurants in Ghent as well. So he had Wulf in the countryside. That was his like first restaurant, and then he had a restaurant called Superet in Ghent, which was a wood-fired bakery, like sourdough breads and stuff. Mm-hmm. It was him, this woman named Biggie, who was like 5'2", but she was fucking badass, man. This woman was a phenomenal baker. And this Irish chick named Rose that ran that restaurant. And then he had another restaurant called De Vitrine, which was an old butcher shop that had like the old big butcher window in there. And then he did a 7-course tasting menu in there. It was like 5 or like 6 or 7 courses for like $65 or $70.
Mm-hmm. Is he applying the same sort of ethos as he did
in all of his restaurants?
Got you.
Yeah, every single restaurant was the same.
They worked
same exact thing.
12 hours a day.
No, that was a little more relaxed because it didn't. Whatever, it's 7 courses instead of 25.
Right.
And like so, Vitrine was.
Well, you worked in like the lab, you know?
Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
Gotcha.
So Vitrine was like the chef, 2 cooks, a dishwasher, 2 front of house.
Yeah.
Wulf was like Koba, 20 cooks, fucking like 10 front of house staff, a whole cleaning staff. There was like 10 rooms in the hotel. So he would take us to Ghent and he'd be like, hey, we're going to go party this weekend. Mm-hmm. And you're like, all right, cool. We'd go to a nightclub and we didn't pay for shit.
Yeah, well, he's like a local celebrity there.
And we'd go out, we would fucking drink, have a great time. And then you go to pay and he's like, I paid for everything. Don't worry about it. And you're like, what? And he's like, well, you guys work so hard for me Like, you guys fucking pretty much give your life up to make sure that my business runs, that my restaurant is what I want it to be.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to make sure that you guys are taken care of. I'm going to make sure you guys have a good time, have a fun time. Fucking, you guys want to keep going to another bar? Just let me know. I'll take us there. You know,
Right.
Would call us taxis, all that shit. So once I saw a lot of that, I think it was pretty eye-opening to me of like, damn, there's a lot of different types of chefs. There's a lot of different types of people out there. Some people that are like, I pay you, you work for me, you put food on the plate, and go the fuck home. And then there's, you know, everyone always says like family, but then there's like family in restaurants of like, no. We're gonna work really hard here. Don't think we're not, but we're gonna take care of you.
Yeah.
And we're gonna take care of everyone, and everyone's gonna have a good time, and it's gonna be hard, but like we'll all make it through it.
Yeah.
And once I saw that you could cook and travel, I think for me was the big turning point in cooking. Because it's like, I really like traveling. This cooking thing's working out. It's cool. Where else can I go? And what else can I do? So I ended up I worked in Paris for a little while.
Where'd you work there?
I worked at a little restaurant called Chez L'Ami Jean, like a little gastro bistro with this French guy named Stéphane Gigot. He was a fucking madman, dude. Your stereotypical French work story, man, of like the chef that screams all day long.
Right.
Just the most like...
What is he screaming about?
Just the most abrasive shit, dude. The poor fucking dishwashers, man.
Yeah.
Like, we had these two dishwashers.
Yeah.
One of the guys' name was Mohamedou. I forget the other guy's name. Fucking nicest guys, man. These like big dudes from fucking Ghana, and like one dude from like Senegal.
Yeah.
Big fucking African guys. And I remember one guy one day broke a plate.
Yeah.
Not fucking, bro, we're in a bistro. Sure, we're like a chocolate mousse bowl or some shit.
All right.
And this fucking chef is yelling at this fucking dishwasher, man. He's like, if you break another plate, I'm sending you and your family back to Africa. And you're like,
whoa.
what?
Yeah. That's crazy.
Fuck? Like, yo, dude. Well, I just came from San Francisco where, like, you can't talk like that to people.
No. Yeah.
And, dude, the guy was just a loose gun. And he would just scream at people.
God
the
damn.
prep day, he was super nice. And he was
as
like...
soon as service started, like, fucking...
Yeah. But I think it was also... It was part of the show of his restaurant, which I haven't been back in a long time. Whenever I'm in Paris, I'll go eat there just because the food is phenomenal. Like, he's a very, very talented chef. But it's like a long, slim dining room. And in the back of the dining room, there's the kitchen, and it's an open kitchen. So, like, he's at the helm of his pass in the dining room. And he just screams the whole time. So it's almost like people are like, oh, I'm going to go have dinner and a show because I'm just going to look at this guy fucking yelling.
Watch this guy lose it.
Yeah, lose
That'd
it.
be racist.
And, like, neck veins bulging. Jesus and you're just like, whoa, dude. My parents came and ate there when I was working there. And I remember the next day meeting up with them, and they're like, you deal with that every day?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like 12 to 14 hours a day. The guy's like this all the fucking time. And I remember my dad looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Like, I'm super proud that you're, like, getting
Yeah.
into your craft and
Right.
putting in your 10,000 hours, but, like, you know, I wouldn't put up with that shit.
No. No.
But learned a lot, man. It was great. I really enjoyed living in Paris. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But after like 6 or 7 months of being there, I remember one of the dishwashers was making like palm puree, and they didn't end up using all like the milk and butter that was like already mixed, and it was hot. And the chef like brings it back, and he's like, "Here, do something with this." And I was like, "All right, well, like, what do you want me to do with it?" He's like, "Well, what would you do in America?" I was like, well, I mean, this milk's been like sitting out hot with butter in it for the last like 3 hours. So we'd probably throw it away.
Yeah.
Like health standard wise, I'm not going to cool this down.
Yeah.
But, you know, and he's like, yeah, well, that's because you fucking Americans are so wasteful. I was like, what? Like, all right, dude. Sure, man.
Yeah. But what would the mighty French like to do with the
like, so I remember I looked at it, I was like, so what do you want me to do? You want me to save it? Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
And so I went to like grab a container to put the milk in the container, and I hear him yelling around the corner. He's like, "Hey, I wasn't fucking done talking to you."
Yeah.
And he's like yelling in French at me, and I was like, "Oh, okay." Meanwhile, dude, this guy's like total French Napoleon. This guy's like 5'4", tiny French dude,
Right.
fucking big mouth, big attitude. So he's like coming around the corner, and I look at him, and I'm like, I didn't mean to just walk away from you, but you told me to put the milk away, so I grabbed a container. I was going to put it away, put it in the fridge. I wouldn't do that, but you want it, so fucking there you go. Dude, here's your milk. And he's like, well, you know what I would do back in the day? And I was like, I don't. I don't know what you do back in the day, man. Would you throw it away? He's like, I would take that milk and I'd throw it on you outside, and I'd fucking kick your ass outside. And I'm there like, yo, all right. And I remember I like took my apron off, and I was like, you know, it seems to me that you were really looking for a problem, and I really didn't want to like give in to your problem. I was like, but you fucking found the problem now, dude. What's up?
Yeah.
Like, well, what's going on? You want to step outside? We could totally do that. Like, if you want to try to throw milk at me and fight, fucking,
It is what it is, baby.
let's go, dude.
Yeah.
Like, let's add another story into life. And whatever, we kind of amicably was like, hey, look, I respect you, dude. You're a phenomenal chef, but I can't come to work and work for somebody that I want to fucking punch in the face every time I see him now.
Right.
So let's just go our separate ways. So I left there.
What a fucking asshole that guy is. Is he
Yeah,
still
man.
operating?
Yeah.
What
Dude,
a
he's
piece
on
of
like
shit.
every single list. If you look like best bistros, best restaurants to eat in Paris, he is always on that list. His food is phenomenal. He's just a fucking cock, but his food is insane.
That's crazy, bro.
Then I went
beat the shit out of
to
him.
yeah, holy
Beat
shit,
the
dude.
fucking shit out. You should have beat the shit out of him a long time ago. I'm sure there's people that have beat the shit out of him.
I'm sure there's
too.
people that have probably
And if
wanted
it
to,
hasn't
man.
happened, it fucking will.
And it was such a trip, and like I understand why now, man. But you'd see people like we'd have family meal. There's something different in Europe, dude. They feed you fucking well for family meal. We'd have like whole like fucking Sunday roast porks and shit.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna eat super well. But on break, dude, you just have the cooks that would just chain smoke like an entire pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
Same at Wulf, man. We'd have our front of house, back of house staff like smoking a cigarette. It's like 30% done, and they're lighting the next one. Fucking just like I'm gonna smoke 10 of these things back to back.
You're like, you guys ever heard of Nicorette?
Yeah, you're just like, you guys don't have Zins yet?
Yeah, exactly. There's easier ways to do this, guys.
Just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I kind of understood more of why people get so addicted to that. Just like chain smoking cigarettes at work to deal with the stress of your boss yelling at you.
Yeah. Thank God for cigarettes, bro. Sometimes, like, thank God.
Yeah. Hey, dude, they've gotten, I think this industry, they've gotten people through a lot of dark times.
Oh, for sure. For sure, dude.
I know at Wulf, man, we would take the trash out at the end of every night, but we didn't have like dumpster service. So there was these two big ass holes in the ground in the bottom of the parking lot. And they had like, each one had like a really big, thick fucking like canvas trash bag in it that a crane would come like once every month or 2 months and like pick the bag up, empty it, put the bag back in. So you just threw your trash bags into a giant trash bag.
Right.
And all the cooks would fucking fight to be like, I'm taking the trash out tonight, because then you would go, it'd be like me and the fucking chef de cuisine would go to the trash cans, throw the trash out and smoke like 3 cigarettes.
Right.
And be like, oh, dude. Fucking everyone, and like everyone's scrubbing the floors right now. I'm taking the trash out.
Right.
I gotta go fucking smoke a cigarette or a joint or whatever the fuck someone's gonna smoke down here.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back, and or it's like you'd have cooks that would come down with like a bag of trash, smoking a cigarette, and they'd be like, "Oh, you forgot this." And you're like, bro, there's nothing in the bag. He's like, yeah, I fucking know. I just don't want to be in there with the interns. And you're like, all right, dude.
Right.
Let them clean the floors.
Yeah. That's crazy. So you're in France. You leave that horrible restaurant. And where you go from there?
I went to Miami in Norway. And
that motherfucker's crazy too.
Yeah. And honestly, I wish that I had a bit of a different outlook on things when I went there. I went for a like 2-month stage there, and I was only there for like 2 weeks.
Right.
Not necessarily only because of the restaurant, but it's an unpaid internship.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how expensive Norway is.
Oh, right.
So when I got there, or before I got there, I'm like trying to find an apartment. It's like, where the fuck do you stay? Like, dude, I've never been to Oslo. I don't know anything about this place. So I'm trying to find an apartment, and finally I find an apartment that I don't even remember where the fuck it was, but find an apartment that's furnished. So it's like, all right, there's a bed, whatever, kitchen. I can sleep here. I'm at the top floor of this building, but fuck it, whatever, it's fine. And dude, it was like almost $3,000 a month. So I'm like, all right, it's gonna cost me $6,000 to not get paid and to work all day long. Like, all right, this is I don't know how I'm gonna make this work, or I don't know that I can make this work.
Yeah.
And I actually ended up I was in Norway first, and then when I left that stage, I went to Paris to go work for that guy.
Yeah.
But Miami was awesome, dude. It's I don't think that I was mature enough yet for that restaurant.
Yeah.
I think that if I would have been at Indewolf first and then gone to Miami, it would have made more sense to me. But I'm in this restaurant, and it's like, whatever, it's like a 20-course menu, and 17 courses are like room temperature, and a bunch of like fermented food. And at that point, I didn't really know much about it. So I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what are we doing here? And you want to talk about sustainability, man. Like, we would have to deep clean the kitchen 2 times a day. And it's like, in the old location, the kitchen was in like this glass box, like upstairs, and then the dining room was below it. So people could look up and they'd see everyone in their whites up there.
Yeah.
And we would have to deep clean this thing 2 times a day. And the only people in the kitchen that got to use towels was the pastry chef, Esben, the chef, and then the meat cook. Nobody else had a towel. So we'd clean the entire kitchen with paper towels, like seafolds. We're wiping the entire kitchen down with seafolds. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
That's crazy.
And
doesn't he play like loud Norwegian death metal over there or something? Like
maybe.
Okay,
Like,
he wasn't at that time.
At that point, no.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. At that point, it seemed like it was very much so like more of like that very high-end Scandinavian service where it's like really detail-oriented. Like, the fucking knife is $500 a steak knife type deal. Phenomenal. Like, beautiful place. But it was kind of a weird setup because they were in this building with the police station. So it's like the police station's in the building, and then you have this 2-star restaurant upstairs at the police station.
Yeah.
All the walk-ins were on the bottom floor of the building. So you're like 3 floors down. Bathrooms for staff and everything, you gotta go to the bottom floor.
Yeah.
And there's this fucking steep staircase to get up to the restaurant for like staff. That's not the guest entrance.
Yeah.
So every morning, they would make a list of like, this is what has to come up from the walk-ins. You got to go to the walk-in once. And if you forgot something, you don't get to go back to the walk-in.
Yeah.
That's it. Same with the bathroom. So I remember kind of my breaking point, or one of the, when I left, we'd like have family meal. We scrubbed the kitchen down. We set up for dinner service. And I had looked at the chef de cuisine at that point and was like, hey, I'm just going to run and use the restroom real quick. Like, I'll be right back. And the guy was like, you really need to learn to be able to manage like when you need to use the restroom, because we're about to start service. So you're not going to the bathroom. And I remember I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Yo, dude, I will do almost anything you ask me to in this place, but I'm going to go take a piss. Like, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not that extreme, dude. I'm not going to fucking die for you. But like, I'm going to go take a piss, dude. And kind of for me at that point, I was young, hard-headed. So I think for me, I was just like, what? This doesn't make it. It's super expensive to live here. And like, I can't go to the bathroom.
That's that's dumb.
Like,
that's not right. That's not right.
And yeah, so for me, I ended up leaving there. I went to Paris actually, so I was backwards. But it was cool to see, and a very different kind of introduction into a lot of like seasonality, seasonal cuisine, fermented stuff, product like, it's like pick sea buckthorn. You're like, what the fuck is this? And they're like, well, you gotta put it in liquid nitrogen and then wear these really big gloves. You're gonna cut yourself. And you're like, I've never seen this shit in my life. So a lot of like new product was introduced to me,
right?
And just a style of work ethic that there's a lot of people that work really hard here in restaurants.
Yeah,
I think that if cooks here or the older generation of cooks here, or maybe it would do the new ones good too. Everyone, if you get the opportunity, you should go to Europe and go work or stage somewhere. Because when you see the amount of effort and work and care that goes into a lot of restaurants there, I think it's pretty eye-opening. How you can be in Europe and, kids at 15 years old are going to culinary school because they're deciding at that point, this is going to be my craft. This is my career. And it's not looked down upon, for lack of better words, where someone's like, oh, you're going to cook? It's like, yeah, that's what I want to do with my life. Yeah. Or I'm going to be a server. And like at 16 years old, you're going to hospitality school to learn how to do service and how to, break down a pineapple, a lamb leg, a pig bladder at a table. And I think it's a lot of those things that you don't see here, that I think a lot of people maybe take for granted or are wanting to commit to what they want to do. But when they see that level, you're like, oh shit, there's so much more to learn or for me to know or to go see. But at the same time as well, I think that the way that things are set up here for work balance, if you will, are a little bit better than working 18 hours a day all the time. And then finding, but I think the hard part as well is for a lot of people finding the ways, like, how do you cope with an 18-hour day? Like, how do you mentally unpack that, man?
Yeah.
Maybe for a little bit in the beginning, it's easy. But after 6, 7, 8 months of like, holy fuck, dude. Going back to it, it's like, I'm either going to chain smoke cigarettes or I'm going to drink a lot or find some other way to try to decompress and to kind of like force some of this out of my head.
It's never enough.
No.
No.
And you keep going back for it, man. You're like, well, that didn't work. Well, I'll try again next week.
So masochistic. You know what I'm saying? There's something to be said about cooks. We are masochistic as fuck.
Especially at when you get to that top level, man. It's crazy.
It's infectious. Plus, you got like 40 people running in the same direction, like working as hard. You're gonna do it.
Well, it doesn't seem as crazy when you see 20 people doing it before you, and you're like total like herd mentality.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll fucking do that.
Okay, yeah,
100%. I'll do that.
That's what we're doing now. Yeah.
But if someone pulls you aside and you're under, like, will you do that? You're like, no. That sounds fucking dumb.
That's crazy. I would never do that.
Never do that. You get a group of a bunch of people together. Yeah. People start doing it. Everyone will follow along. So
did you then leave Europe? You then leave that area?
So I ended up then leaving Europe. I went from Wulf to working in Ghent. Worked in Ghent for about a year. Ran a pop-up for Koba for like 3 or 4 months to run out his lease.
Yeah.
My brother ended up coming to Europe at that point to come work and just hang out for a couple months.
Yeah.
He was living in LA, left to come hang out. Then we traveled around Europe for like a month and a half, 2 months, and then came back to the States, trying to figure out what to do. At that point, I'd kind of started the conversation with my dad of what this would eventually become, this restaurant, and trying to figure out how to put all that together. But my dad was always really good at gauging kind of where I was at. And he's like, you've started to get the experience down, but you're 27, 28. You're not really there yet. Like, you still got to put some more work in before I think that you're ready to be able to start a business and truly be responsible enough. So like, keep working, keep going.
You haven't managed anyone at this point either.
No, I'd been like a sous chef in Europe for a while at that point, but like not real, how do you get people to work for you and work with you, which is a totally different skill set that I wish more people would teach, because it's not about just going around yelling at people to get them to do what you want.
No,
it actually backfires more times than not.
Yeah.
But we're taught, I think our generation of cooks are taught, like, the fucking louder you scream, the better people hear you. Like, nah, dude. The louder you scream, the more people say fuck you, and they're like, I'm gonna turn my back to that.
Yeah. Or they mentally check out.
Yeah.
They're just like,
Oh, for sure, man.
Shut down.
I think that's happened to all of us. So I continued to work, and I was like, all right, what am I gonna do? So I went back to the city. Wasn't sure what I was gonna do yet, and I went to go help out at Petit Crène for like 2 or 3 months. Coincidentally, Johnny was then the executive chef for the Crène Dining Group.
So you were back.
So I was back, saw Johnny again, and I was like, dude, I just got back from Europe. I don't know what's going on, but I got like 2 or 3 months to kill, dude. He's like, I could use your help here.
Yeah.
Just come here. I was like, all right, sweet.
Dope.
And that side, the first time I'd met Dominique, Petit Cren was awesome, dude. Like old school Petit Cren was a great restaurant. It was an awesome like 7-course, I think a 7-course tasting menu. They did a badass brunch on the weekends. Like it was fucking awesome, man.
What happened to that place?
It's still,
I know it's still in operation.
so it's still in operation now. They shut down during COVID, and they were doing what's it called? It was like that food. Essentially, like during COVID, they were cooking food for like people that needed food
Boys
or
and
didn't
Girls
have
Club
access to
yeah.
food, but it was being funded by like Bill Gates and stuff. I forget what it was called, but they were doing a lot of that out of there.
Yeah.
And then now they're doing dinner services there, I think like 4 days, 5 days a week until the lease runs out. And it's like Chef Dominique, another one of the, I would imagine, she's got to be a sous chef, or I think she's one of the sous chefs. Her name's Francesca that works there. She's fucking insane, dude. That chick is a phenomenal cook. That cook that's like very, very quiet, but is just like a total silent killer. She's awesome. She was a CDP when I was at working at Atelier Cren.
Yeah.
And it was one of those cooks where you're like, you're gonna be fucking good. But now she like travels with Dom, does a bunch of like the events when they go and stuff. So it's like it's Dom, Francesca, and then Michelle, who is fucking killer as well, man, and one of the nicest people. And that's Chef Juan's wife now. So it's like a small team, and then I want to say the front of house, there's 1 or 2 people in front of house, and they just do like a really nice, simple, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 course tasting menu now.
Okay.
I'd love to go try it out. Haven't been. I'd love to go before they close there.
Yeah.
But was at Petit Cren for a little while, just kind of working, helping out, trying to figure out what to do, and then ended up jumping into the world of private chefing quickly. Tried giving that a go. And it was cool, dude. I had a great experience. My client that I worked for ended up being kind of a pain in the ass.
They always are, bro.
Yeah.
If they're at the level where they can get a personal chef, man.
Yeah.
They're so disconnected from outside people. And when you're coming in to like interview for that kind of job, you get that sense of you're like, oh, and then you have to drink the Kool-Aid. And you gotta be like,
I didn't drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't either. I got fucking shit canned, dude. They were like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, man. And like, I didn't even interview for the job. I responded to a random Instagram post. Yeah. That someone's like, hey, need a private chef in the Hamptons for the month of August. Yeah. Name your price and send me your resume. I'm like, fuck, okay. Like, and here I am scrolling on my phone. I'm like, put out a number. Yeah. And the guy's like,
that's crazy. How about this?
The guy's like, ask for 50% more.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck?
How much you asked for?
I think I asked for like 10 grand.
Yeah.
For the month. And the guy's like, ask for like 15 or 17.5.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Like, right.
You got to pay taxes on that ship too, bro.
Dude, that guy was handing me envelopes of cash.
Yeah.
He's like, fucking here you go. Go have fun. And I'm like,
damn, that's dope.
I was like, dude, you're telling me I can make $17,000 in a month?
Yeah, and get paid.
Yeah, he's like, dude, so like, I'll put you in contact. You know, you're gonna hop on a call with the guy's secretary tomorrow. She just wants to talk to you and get you all sorted away because like you need to be in the Hamptons in like 4 days. Yeah, I'm like, all right. They never give you the whole story.
Yeah, they don't. You know? They don't.
So I accept the job. I hop on the phone with the fucking secretary, and she's like, so there's something really important you need to know. Yeah. He's a vegan. And I'm like, oh, fuck, dude. Like, yeah. All right. Shit. All right, cool. Well, like, dude, I'm not going to lose this opportunity because I got to fucking make tofu sandwiches or whatever. All right, let's go make some vegan food. So, dude, within a few days, I've got a plane ticket to go to New York. They're like, you know, you're flying into the Hamptons. Make sure that you're at this address in 2 days you got to go meet the guy, blah, 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 whatever. Your hotel's all set up. Here's your company card.
You're good. You're set up. They're like, how'd you get my social security number?
Dude, they had access to everything, man.
That's right.
So I end up in the Hamptons. Never been before.
Yeah.
What a beautiful place that is. Awesome, fucking beautiful place in the summer. And I land in the airport. I go to the car rental place, and they're like, oh, yeah, your car's ready. You can, like, you know, we had a couple options for you, but someone took the other car, so, like, we got your car here. And they hand me this, like, fucking bright-ass yellow convertible Jeep. I'm like, all right, dude, summertime's in the Hamptons, driving a convertible Jeep around. Why the fuck not?
Yeah.
Really get into it here. Show up at the house for my interview, or to, like, meet the guy, and there's this super nice Japanese woman sitting, like, like on a bench, for lack of better words, through the service entrance of this house. Her name was Yoko. And I walk in, and I'm kind of like, hey, like, I'm Klaus. Nice to meet you. Who are you? And she's like, oh, I'm Yoko. I'm the private chef. So in my head, I'm like, this motherfucker flew me out here to now go through an interview process. Like, dude, what the fuck?
You didn't have a job.
Come to find out, she's like, no. Like, I'm here working. You're only here because I have to go get, like, carpal tunnel surgery in, like, 2 weeks. So you need to cover the week that I'm gone.
Yeah.
I was like, wait. Like, I don't have to be here every day? And she's like, no. Like, just work with me a couple days for, like, the next 2 weeks. And then I'm going to be gone for a week. So I just need you to cover that week. That's why you're here.
Right.
I was like, holy shit, dude, I'm getting paid for a month's work, but I only have to work, like,
a week.
Yeah, 10 days.
Yeah.
Like, okay. All right, let me slow my roll. Well, I'll go through this interview. I'll talk to this guy. And man, for a vegan, what a fucking pain in the ass this guy was. We're in the middle. I did all the research, reached out to farms, set up accounts with farms to be able to buy stuff. I had no idea either that the Hamptons had such good produce.
Yeah.
All these, like, tiny farms. Phenomenal. Like, dude, some of the best produce I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. And I would buy, dude, the nicest, like, corn, tomato, all the stuff, all the summertime stuff. And this guy was just like, I really just want a plate of steamed broccoli and carrots with chicken gravy on top. Mm-hmm. I'm like, wait, you're a vegan. Like, what do you mean you want gravy on top? He's like, yeah, I grew up in a steakhouse. So I want gravy on my vegetables. All right. What the fuck? Bizarre. Interesting. Beautiful house in the Hamptons. The daughter was really nice. The son was a pain in the ass. Had a whole, like, list of everything they couldn't eat. The son didn't like the texture of cucumbers, so don't ever serve my kid cucumbers and shit like that.
Right.
And you're like, all right, my daughter's boyfriend, this is his diet. This is my daughter's diet. The guy's girlfriend, the guy that I was working for, his girlfriend was the nicest one out of all of them.
Yeah.
And she was just like, I'm originally from Sweden. Like, make whatever you want. I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm not picky. She's like, you know, everyone else might be a little bit picky, but I'm just here to let you know, I don't care. Like, just make something good. I'm happy. Like, you could give me sardines on toast. I was like, all right, I feel like that's pretty Scandinavian of you. Pickled fish on toast, no problem. So I was there for a month, did that. After the month, I was like, all right, dude, you know, I think it's best that I'm gonna go back to California. The guy was like, I've got friends coming over tomorrow.
Yeah.
Steve or something, I don't know. The dude that owns the New York Giants. He's coming over for dinner tomorrow with his wife. He's a good friend of mine. I'm like, all right, can you make a chocolate cake?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I can make you a chocolate cake. He's like, is it going to be good? I was like, well, I'm not going to intentionally make you one that's bad.
Right.
So yeah, it should be good, man. Like, you'll be fine. And in my head, I'm like, all right, you're a vegan. You want a chocolate cake. All right. So, like, it's inevitably going to have some, I don't know, some coconut and some dark chocolate.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Like, we're going to have to figure out how to do this. So I come into work the next day. I get all the stuff. I start making this chocolate cake, as good of at that point, a vegan chocolate cake as you could make.
Right.
And in my head, I'm like, dude, I know this guy wants one of these, like, dense fudge cakes, like, that are not vegan.
Flourless.
Yeah, like,
torte.
not vegan at all.
Yeah.
Like, condensed milk and shit. So I make this vegan chocolate cake, and he, like, walks into the kitchen, because he would just sit at the big table in the kitchen, not the dining room, but like the kitchen table, and he would just like fucking blare Fox News or whatever he was watching, and like have these ridiculous phone calls with people.
How old was this dude?
He was probably in his, I don't know, like late, maybe early 70s, or something like that.
Okay, got it,
Yeah.
got it.
But just like an immense amount of money, like disgusting amounts of money.
Yeah.
Him and his business partner had founded the Hard Rock Cafe and all those businesses. And he like sees the chocolate cake and he's like, "What is that?" I was like, "Oh, this is your vegan chocolate cake." He's like, "I'm not gonna eat that." Okay, like, you want me to make another one? And he's like, "No, like, why would you make me a vegan chocolate cake?" I was like, "Well, because you're a vegan. Like, I'm not trying to be rude or like snap back at you, but I've only been cooking you vegan food and cooking meat for your guests, but like you're a vegan, so I'm not going to put like milk, cream, butter, eggs, and all that shit into a cake if you can't have it."
Right.
And he's like, "Well, who the fuck wants to eat a vegan chocolate cake?" And I'm just like, "All right, dude, like this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like this is insane. I don't really want to deal with this shit anymore." Although I'm very thankful that every Saturday afternoon after I make your cucumber sandwich, you hand me an envelope full of cash. That's fucking badass. That luckily, when I left, I went to New York City for like a week and ate at a bunch of restaurants that I wanted to go to. So thank you for funding that. But it was just like, man, what a pain in the ass. I could imagine if you get a good client and like a good private chef gig, it's got to be super fun.
Yeah.
If you have the guy who's some tech dude who's like, "Cook me whatever you want, I don't care."
Yeah.
You're like, "Oh, hell yeah."
I had a dude who actually he was specific in what he wanted, but it was very like culinary school joints. So it was like he'd be like, "I want beef Wellington," and I'd be like, I make him a classic beef Wellington. Or if he's like, "I want apple pie," like he just wants the most classic
With
shit.
vanilla ice
That's what I'm
cream.
saying.
Yeah.
Like
Frozen custard.
He's like, "Make meatloaf."
Yeah.
But like he would also,
But make it good.
that's
And
what I'm
you're
saying.
like, all right.
You'd be like, "All right, cool. I'm basically cooking a pate over here." Like, and that's what I liked about him.
Yeah.
Is that he pushed like other envelopes that you normally weren't like, I'm not inspired by this. And then he'd call it fancy dinner, and he'd do like fucking 12 covers of like, whatever, 10 courses. And I'd have to like say fucking at the table.
Yeah.
But one day, one of the dudes wouldn't quiet down. You're just kind of standing there.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
he fucking bangs his thing on the wine glass. He's like, "Shut the fuck up." And then he looks at me and he's like, "Go ahead."
Chef's about to talk.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, that's mad awkward, bro. Like, you just told this dude to shut the fuck up in front of his wife. Like, nah, man. So, and that, but he was cool as fuck, man. Mitch was dope. And
This is my fucking dinner party.
exactly.
Yeah.
But we were working in Wyoming, and he sent, my mom came to visit me, and he sent the helicopter.
That's where the
for
real
her.
money's at, dude.
So,
when someone's like, "Oh, my client's in Wyoming," you're like, "Oh, that motherfucker's got money."
Yeah, dude.
You got that
I got
Wyoming money?
Oh, yeah.
You got that ranch?
It's one of the most,
Most like private jets per capita or whatever flying in and out.
yeah, there's a lot, man. Kanye used to have his shit over there, too. It's crazy. It's a crazy.
imagine
It's
being that
the
guy's
tax.
chef. Yeah.
There's no income tax. So they do the thing where they live there half the year and then over here half the year, and then they pay Wyoming taxes versus it's whatever.
Hey, I don't get it, but if I had that much money, I'd get it. Yeah.
Like,
I'm saving millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, I think at that point, like they got people that they pay out like over millions of dollars to like make sure that they don't lose their money.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
tax avoidance, lawyers and stuff. Yeah, like if you find yourself in a place where you have a client that's like, "Hey, dude, just cook me what you want, cook me good food," I would imagine it's probably incredible, and you create like a really good relationship with somebody that, like you said, is like, "Hey, dude, I want this today."
Yeah.
Or like, I remember growing up, I had fucking hot dogs in Chicago. Can you make me hot dogs?
Right.
You're like, "Yeah, dude."
Yeah,
No
exactly.
problem. Yeah. Like, you want a beer with it? Yeah. Like,
see,
all right,
that's
man.
the shit. I would make him like handmade pasta, like
Yeah.
fucking tortellonis and shit. And then he's like, after a while, he's like, you don't have to impress me every day. he's like, can I just get a burger? I was like, all right, dude, like, fine.
Yeah. You know? But then you find yourself like, all right, I'm going to fucking get the best beef. I'm going to put this phenomenal Rockford cheese or whatever.
He's like, get Cloud burgers.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Have you seen a Cloud burger though? They're delicious, bro.
No, I haven't.
They got
in the Bay Area?
No, it's a frozen patty, but they're shaped like clouds. They got like,
what the fuck?
Yeah, it looks like a kind of like a popcorn thing if you were to draw popcorn.
Yeah.
And so, but I don't know, it's 100% beef or whatever. It's not the beef aspect of it, but it's how they mix it. It's almost like hot dog.
Oh,
so like
it's
when
like it's emulsified?
Kinda, yeah. So it doesn't, it's not emulsified all the way. It still eats like a burger, but it has like the really
Cloud
spun it really
burgers?
well. It's called Cloud burgers, yeah. And you can get them like fucking fat or small.
It's like when they mix sausage with like the ice and shit.
Yeah. So like, get that shit. But it's really good. It's really fucking good. They got a good product.
Okay.
And, anytime I go like barbecue or whatever, if I can find the Cloud burger, that's the one that's going on the grill. Because like it's fucking delicious. I don't give a fuck what beef you get, whatever. Like this shit is just good, bro.
Hey, there's someone that spent probably millions of dollars on R&D and licensing to make that like Cloud burger
with legit scientists. You know, so hey,
as long as they're not growing the meat in the lab.
That's what I'm saying. I'm good.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Because there is a lot of that shit's gonna happen, bro.
I can't get behind it.
Would you get behind it if you had no choice? Like,
well, I feel like that's
the idea with it, right? It's like at some point we're gonna overfish the salmon.
That
so now that lab grown the salmon.
I'm not a big. I'm not big into the salmon industry, to be honest with you. I don't really support it. I am not a big. I don't want to say a believer, but I'm just not a big believer in salmon.
Yeah,
like get trout.
Right.
You know.
Right.
But the amount of overfishing in the salmon industry, the shit that goes on in salmon farming, like how they feed the salmon back, the poisoned fish get ground up and fed back to the fish that you're gonna like. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And you guys eat that shit like with all the fish in the ocean.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, just eat some mackerel.
Right.
It's good for you.
Right.
And there's a bunch of them. Mackerel's not going extinct.
I hear you.
But like,
is there any mackerel farms?
No, you don't need them. There's fucking so many mackerel in the ocean out here. There's schools of them.
That's right.
But I don't know, man. I think that with a lot of this like farm or whatever lab grown meat, it's just weird. It's weird to me.
Yeah. But just like anything, like shit was weird long ago and 20 years go by and it's like normal, you know? Like,
but I think that, you know, it's like for us, like beef wise, you know, we don't really serve a lot of beef here, but once a month we get to work with a farm called Knights Valley Wagyu out of Calistoga.
Oh shit. Okay.
And whatever, like Harbor House uses them, Single Thread uses them, Bell's gets to use them. There's a sandwich shop in Healdsburg that uses their beef as well. And there's an Italian restaurant that I just kind of learned about that uses them.
Yeah.
So once a month we get a phone call. We go to Calistoga or to Katati, go pick up the beef when it's ready.
Yeah. Is it? I believe I had him on the podcast. I'm
Adam?
pretty sure. Yeah. Adam Gordon.
Yeah, dude, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's legit. Yeah.
He is.
I went out to his farm and we did a podcast in his house.
Beautiful, dude. Oh, like that stone house or whatever.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. With the donkeys walking around.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm like, when this eccentric ass motherfucker, man.
He's so nice,
dude. He just made a film studio in New York.
Yep.
Like a skyscraper. Music studio. I think he did it with
Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro, yeah.
And he just bought like a horse farm out in New York. But I think that when you find somebody like that, and dude, that guy's a fucking 1 in a million.
Yeah, I mean, like
that. But
he literally did my podcast. I'm like, nobody does that. Yeah. Like, and his level, you know, like where he's at when he knows Robert De Niro. What the fuck?
So if you can find people like that, it's like, dude, and you're not going to be able to get everyone to go to that extreme, but I just want to eat that quality of product. Like, I know what goes inside of it. I know that, especially for him, you're feeding these animals like phenomenal quality stuff. You're not feeding them the shit. You're not putting all the shit into them that is going into any of the large lot beef that you find on the I-5 or whatever it may be. I want to see more of that happen. And I want to see more people that are like responsibly farming whatever, pigs, beef, chickens, whatever it may be. But the thought of somebody growing meat in a dish or whatever, and then like forming it into a log and being like, here's your chicken. Like, yeah, dude. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm a little bit old school still, but I'd rather just go kill the chicken and eat the chicken. To me, it just seems better.
I hear you.
But like you said, you know, if I had no choice, would I get behind it? Fuck, I guess I don't have a choice.
Yeah, because you're a chef, right? So you're like,
you know, if I had to pick the side of the coin that I want to be on, it's like no, I'm good.
And you don't have to. There's gonna be enough people doing it that you're like,
well, you've got countries like Italy, man, that banned it, and they're like, we're banning. Nope.
Right.
Like, to protect our cultural richness, our country, our farmers, like, you cannot bring that shit here. And it's right in line with now how, like, Bill Gates with that whole, what's it called, appeal or whatever, where it's like that spray they're spraying on vegetables and apples that can keep them good for like 6 months at a time.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, you know, the amount of people that are going to go to the store, go buy that apple. They're not going to wash that shit off, and they're going to eat that. And now that's going to go in their body. And if it keeps a vegetable good for 6 months in a warehouse, like, I can't imagine there's anything good in that.
They just found the first trace of microplastics in penises.
I just saw that.
How, dude? So I'm
I just saw that.
Bro, I've always thought that, like, you know, we just are our environment.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that I'm almost like kind of embracing plastic. I'm like, I'm fucking part plastic now.
Yeah.
You know, like, what the fuck do you want, bro? I ain't got no choice. It's everywhere.
It's in my dick.
Yeah, it's on the fucking debit cards.
Yeah.
All of this has it, right? Yeah. So it's like, oh, embrace it. Give me more, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I saw that the other day too, and you're just like, wait, what?
Right.
Like, okay. How the fuck did it get in there? I don't know, but sure.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy the amount of change that has happened over even the last 20 years in people, man, from like what people are being fed, the change, even like when I talk to my dad, man, and my dad's older. My dad was born in 45, so he turns 80 next year.
Yeah.
But my dad all the time will be like, it wasn't like this back when I was growing up, or like the quality of stuff, like it blows my mind what people eat now, what people put in their bodies now, or like what I see at the store, the labels of shit that's in there. It's crazy. And now we see so many people that I think are finally being affected by a lot of that. And you have such a large amount of people now that are in their mid to whatever, early, mid, late 30s.
Yeah.
That, dude, testosterone in the majority of men is down. You got a bunch of fucking soft ass people that are walking around. And it's like, dude, what's in the food that you're eating? Like, what's in this shit that's being fed to people, man?
Right.
And they're feeding a lot of people this stuff. They're eating it, and then you're seeing obesity's going through the roof.
Right.
Diabetes is going through the roof.
Mental health issues.
An immense amount of mental health.
Yeah, they just linked Alzheimer's to diabetes. It's a form of diabetes.
No way.
Yeah, Parkinson's, I think it was. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
So it's like you see all this stuff coming up, and then I feel like a lot of it comes back to a similar root of like, what the fuck are people eating now, man?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
well, I think our ones and zeros are like sugar and yeast.
Oh God, yeah.
You know, like we are basically that, right? And
Yeah.
it's like,
well, and sugar is such a, dude, sugar is fucking insane.
yeah, for sure. Especially how much we eat every day compared to like what
Other
people
countries?
ate. Other countries and 20, 30 years ago.
Oh yeah,
You know?
everything has sugar in it now. Like we talked about earlier, milk
Yeah.
has sugar in it.
And if it says sugar free, don't drink that shit.
No.
Because
Hell
whatever
no.
they're putting into it,
Yeah.
substituting the sugar.
Not only is it bad, but then you have stevia, and stevia tastes like shit.
Yeah, it does.
Or for me at least. Or like
It's very
the
bubblegum sweet. you know?
Yeah.
I don't like that shit.
All the fake stuff. And then when people get into like, well, I don't want to have sugar, so I'm going to drink diet soda.
You're right.
And you're like, dude, whatever, they just found it to be carcinogenic. Because it gives you cancer. But, dude, if you're on a diet, why are you drinking soda?
Yeah.
Drink some water.
That's
have
what
an
I mean.
iced tea.
Yeah. There's people that
a
just drink
lemonade.
soda all day.
Oh, dude.
I think there was this one YouTuber who died because this mom accidentally
gave her kid Mountain Dew with formula.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah. Never water,
What the
only Mountain
fuck?
Dew. Yeah. So like that's wild. You know, to think,
And like, why do you have that much Mountain Dew in your house?
right.
Like
Well,
your husband for sure punches drywall with that much
for
Mountain Dew
sure.
in the house.
That, or they're coupon people, you know? You got to buy
Well, the
24
big
to
problem
get the
there
case to
is that why the fuck are there coupons for Mountain Dew?
Right.
Like, you should be giving people coupons for organic produce. It's like, no. Make sure you drink more of that yellow whatever.
Right. Well,
Like-
it's honestly like sometimes I look around and I'm like, this ain't stopping anytime soon. I don't have enough money to battle these corporations.
And it's so cheap to eat poorly.
For sure.
And
And
it's becoming so expensive to eat well.
And I also don't have a solution. So I'm not going to sit there and really harp on the problem because it's like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just be glad that the people that come into this restaurant are like, you know, can come to this restaurant and enjoy it, you know, and just be grateful for that. you know?
And it's hard, there's so many, like you said, there's so many problems that are arising. It's like, I don't know the answer. Like, I know my personal belief of how I feel about it, and I'm going to practice that. But, like, I don't necessarily think that my view or my answer is the solution for the problem. But, if you want to eat a bunch of tofu and impossible meat, go for it, man.
That shit's $16 a pound, bro.
Yeah.
Impossible meat.
And it's not even meat.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, what
And
are you
it's what's
putting in
like
there?
bean protein.
Yeah.
And
But if you look at
the profit margins must be fucking insane.
that's why if you look at who the investors are, it's like all the top tech people in all the different companies have
man.
stock in
Oh, hell yeah.
in Impossible Meat. And I think there's a celebrity that does too.
Probably.
But if you sometimes I just follow celebrity business, right? Because they don't really know what to do with their money. They just give it to someone and that person does it. But if you see a lot of them are investing the same things all at the same time, like Amazon, Vans, or a lot of rappers now have like Cheetos or like chip brands in the gas stations. You know what I mean? And that power just needs to be used for good.
Yeah.
Like let's have them. They're the ones we really need to educate, the people with all the money, as to where the money needs to go.
Yeah.
You know, and not.
Yeah, it's like,
back
it's
into
cooler than having your branded Cheetos, having like an organic whatever, blah, blah, blah. Create this product.
Yeah, exactly.
And go push that on people.
a school for kids out in the fucking farmlands, you know, with a private bus.
Well, I think kind of like in our industry, you had Dan Gusti or whatever.
Yeah,
his last
Dan
name is,
Gusti. Yeah,
you know?
used to be
It's like,
CDC at Noma.
Yeah,
now
and
he's
a buddy
a
of
brigade.
mine that I worked with is now one of the chefs working for him.
He's a brigade chef.
Is a brigade chef.
How's he like it?
Dude? I mean, I can imagine it's a big change.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
from where, and he worked in Michelin Dining, is like a really good chef. And is now like the head chef for, I want to say like the Danville school district. And he's like, dude, I'm the chef of like the school district that I went to school in, and like now cooking food for them and doing that.
It's fulfilling. It's got to
Dude,
be.
he really likes it.
Yeah, yeah.
He gets paid
well. Yeah, yeah.
has vacation time, has a life.
Right.
Like, dude, goes fishing, goes hiking, camping, does whatever.
Right.
Has summertime off, has time off. He's like, it's a lot of computer work and a lot of just like managing people and whatever, making like green bean salads and blah, blah, blah. But he's like, dude, it's more fulfilling than whatever, making sure I'm set up on time by 5 o'clock to feed the 1% their caviar bites.
Well, someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I work in corporate dining now, and I worked for this company that started out in Stanford.
Okay.
And the whole reason they did it is because the guy who started the company realized, like, well, we just will learn better, we will perform better if we focus on what we're eating.
Yeah.
You know? And so that's how all that kind of came out, and that's why these places would invest in chefs to come in and like cook for everyone or have like a food program at these places.
So then are you working, like, it's different groups of people that come through and are cook dinner, or how does that work?
Usually in those places, I'm at OpenAI, and it's like a cafeteria style service.
Oh, okay.
3 times a day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah, free, totally free. They don't pay shit.
Yeah.
Don't pay anything.
And how big is the staff?
The staff is huge.
Couple hundred people?
Yeah, probably. No, I would say probably like
Or even if it's 100.
25 to 40.
Yeah.
I think. It's, you know, because it's all in the same building. So it's like whatever, but it's a lot of meals and it's all at once. Like
It's still 120 to 150 meals.
dude, it's crazy because it's like, hey, it's
I don't know how big your staff is, but still,
lunchtime,
like,
and then like,
and it's fast.
600 people come through. Yeah, you're doing 600 people in an hour and a half. You know what I'm saying? For 3 services. So
and multiple different options.
For sure, it's a whole different story.
Vegetarian, vegan.
Exactly. And what I'm my point with it is that Dan is not single-handedly, but he is influencing the next generation of students here in California. And now the kids that can't afford to go to private school are getting the same food that the kids that are in private school can afford to get. So he's going to be doing shit that doesn't really kind of hit us until those kids are out of school and like politicians or whatever the fuck they choose to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think he's helped an immense amount. It's kind of like what Alice Waters did back in the day with like the Berkeley School District.
Yeah.
And for us growing up here, man, we were so lucky. We had a small organic farm at my elementary school.
Yeah.
We had like a wood-burning pizza oven. We always had wood-burning pizza ovens growing up. We had one at my parents' house.
Yeah.
My parents always made pizza growing up for us, or we always had like friends over and make pizza. So every school that I went to, my parents would buy a pizza oven or raise the money and put a pizza oven at the school, like in the garden. Dude, I think my dad's cooked like tens of thousands of pizzas for all my classmates and kids in school. But our middle school, we had it was called the Habitat. I think now it's called Me Earth, I'm pretty sure. And my mom and a couple other people that were part of like this, whatever, not PTA, but like people that had kids at the school, got together, ended up working with Alice Waters for a handful of years and developed an entire organic garden at the middle school. Yeah. We had an entire organic garden. We had a bird banding, horticulture, gardening class. There was an entire building, like a green building, that was set up with like a kitchen for cooking demos, outdoor kitchen, and it was insane. Like, and this was 20 years ago now. Yeah. But really eye-opening. We used to have in elementary school, I want to say like once a month or once every 2 weeks, my mom would put on a program where it was like local chefs would come and cook and do like a cooking demo for like 30 minutes and feed all the 4th graders or whatever it was at that point. Right. So we definitely had that exposure here where it was like, no. And it was so funny because they didn't ever want to discuss school lunches. And it was always like the really shitty pizza in like the tinfoil bag or chicken nuggets one day or whatever it was. But the school was super on board with like, oh, you're going to bring the chef of Bernardus here and he's going to cook for all the kids. Like, we'd love to do it. We'd love to have an organic garden, but we don't want to change the food. Right. And you're like, it's kind of weird. I mean, I would imagine as well, knowing business a bit more now, I'm sure you're in contract with whoever it is.
Hey, can't farm fish sandwiches and chicken patties, you know.
Your spicy chicken burger, and you're just like, dude, what do you guys? That's how I ever end up with microplastics
and our penises. Great segue into what did you do after you left Petit Cran?
So I left Petit Cran, did the private chef thing quickly, and then I actually ended up, there's a restaurant in Carmel called Stationary, owned by an awesome couple, Anthony and Alyssa, and super cool little breakfast place. And I had approached them and was like, hey, I'm trying to find a space to do a pop-up. Yeah. And I'd like to have like a residency if I could. You guys are breakfast only. Like, would you let me use your restaurant in the evenings, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights? And like, I'll cook a totally different menu. I'll bring all my shit with me and I'll pack it out that night so you don't have to worry about any of it staying in your fridges. Like, it'll be like we were never here. They were super, super nice about it. They allowed me to do it. I did that for probably like 6 months, I want to say, and did like a residency pop-up for a while. We had like a small little bar menu of like, I want to say 5 or 6 plates. Yeah. And then did a 5-course tasting menu for like $60. Just really like affordable menu. And that was super fun, man. That was awesome. And that was kind of my beginning into like, all right, let's try to create a concept. Let's try to, try to put something together different for people in the area that we didn't really have at that point.
What was your pop-up name?
It was just called the Residency at Stationery.
Okay, got it.
So it was great because it allowed them to really advertise their business, but it gave me a place to have like an outlet for a creative outlet, if you will. So I did that for a little while I was trying to figure out what to do. Did the private chefing thing. And then when I got back, I landed back in San Francisco and was like, all right, I'm going to find a job. I had just finally started this of like, let's go through the planning process, the permitting process, do all that. But it's going to take time. It'll always take time to do that. And this space did not look like this when we got in here. The only original thing left is the floor and the facade. Everything else is a total remodel.
Love the floor, by the way. Cement is the way to go.
And it was two old businesses. So you can see there's tile markings over there, and then a different business was here.
Oh, got you.
But so started this whole planning process, the whole building of this restaurant, and I applied for a job at Bar Kren.
Right.
They were looking for a sous chef. I applied for a job, and I had kind of told them like, hey, look, I'm in the middle of trying to open a restaurant, but I've at least got like a year and a half where I'm going to be standing around or whatever, picking stuff and working still. But like, I got time to work. If you guys are willing to entertain that, shoot me an email. We'll get together and talk. I've already worked for you guys once, so I'm not like a total stranger. Ended up going, interviewing, and I guess it went well enough to where they offered me a job. And I then worked at Bar Kren for a year, and then COVID hit, so it stopped everything. It stopped the progression of this restaurant as well. So we all kind of sat around during COVID trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Worked at Bar Kren, and then I ended up going back to Atelier Kren to help them when restaurants were allowed to reopen.
Right.
And it was kind of this weird in-between thing where it's like we were doing a 6 or 7 course tasting menu to go.
Yeah.
It was a trip. Like looking back, what a fucking trip that was. And it's like 7 courses put into the containers, into boxes, into bags that they're dropping off at people's homes. And we had to like film videos on how to prepare the dish so people could log on, watch the video. Kind of a trip when I think back. Stayed there to help them with that. And then when restaurants reopened, stayed longer, helped reopen the restaurant, get everything back up and running. And then once this started to require more attention where I had to be here, I was like, hey, I'm working here, and then on my weekends, driving back home, meeting contractors, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I gracefully have to kind of bow out now.
Right.
I'm always happy to come back and help you guys. You guys have been super good to me, but I've got to get this thing up and running now.
Right.
So stayed in the Kren Dining Group for a little while, and then ended up coming here, opened here, a little over 2.5 years, I want to say now, something like that. And I'm happy that I got the experience to go work in a lot of other restaurants. And the thing that I was really thankful for working for Dominique was that the organizational aspect of everything was you learn organization in kitchens and like whatever, your notebook, your recipes, your station, but like how to organize like spreadsheets, your Google Drive, your blah, blah, blah. It's all that shit that you don't really ever learn. It's so important. And like looking back, I wish I would have taken like Excel classes in high school and stuff. But they were very much about that, where it's like, no. Obviously the restaurant's organized, but every single facet of it
has to be 3 stars, baby. Yeah.
3 stars.
That's the way. Yeah.
And when you learn, for me, that was a big reason why I wanted to work there as well. Like, I know that you guys are so dialed in on everything you do. I want to learn how to do that. I've learned to do it in my craft, but I want to learn it across the board in all the different aspects. So I was very lucky to be able to go do that, work with them. They were an awesome group to work for.
Yeah.
Dominique's awesome. Juan is like the nicest human in the planet. Probably the nicest guy I've ever met in my life. We just actually went, my girlfriend and I went up, and he did, I think he's doing it one more week. So back in the day, you used to be able to go to AC and you could eat a pastry tasting menu. And they would do like a 9 or 10 course pastry tasting menu.
Oh, word.
Yeah. When they were between like 1 and 2 stars, I want to say. And it was like, no, we got to fill the dining room, dude. Fuck it. Like, we'll crush
Let's
dessert.
go. Yeah.
And he would do these like insane pastry tasting menus. And I always tried to get a friend of mine to go eat there. I was like, dude, let's just go. Like, you work in tech. I work at fucking Quince, bro. Like, I don't make any money right now. But like, I'll spend the $150 or whatever to go eat 10 courses of dessert. Like, let's go do it. He never wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But looking back, fuck, I wish I would have. But Juan just did a like pastry omakase at Bar Kren. And we went last week, and it was, I think, like 15 or 16 servings of pastry. And it was insane. It was fucking mind-blowing, like what this guy does. And to see the amount of talent that this guy has with the amount of like modesty and just being a very humble human being.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, that is a rare find. Where it's like you're eating this food and you're like, damn, dude, this is some big dick shit right here.
Right.
And the guy is just like, I really hope you guys like it. I really hope you guys enjoyed.
Right.
You know, we're just trying this out. And you're like, you know, this is good.
Right.
Like, I love that you're so.
He's
you're
a
so
nice big
and so
dick.
humble about it.
There you go. Fucking Chef Juan. What's his last name?
Contreras.
Juan Contreras.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a fucking legend, man.
Come on the fucking podcast, Sucio Talk podcast. Let's go.
Yeah, you should get him on. He'd be great. He's so funny, man.
Cool.
So fucking funny. Yeah, that guy's got some funny stories too, man. Back in the day, like old Alinea stories. Yeah, it's fucking wild. But yeah, dude, so worked for Kren Dining, came down here, opened this up.
Yeah.
It's been a hell of a ride so far, man. No one ever tells you that being a boss is so much fun.
Right.
And like you always kind of saw it in your chefs growing up or working in restaurants where you're like, man, dude, the chef doesn't cook that much. Or like, why don't I see chef cooking, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, I know now because you're busy doing all the other shit.
Right.
And it's like, oh, yeah, I got to go run payroll. I got to go do APs. I got to make sure this. Oh, fuck, I'm going to go meet my insurance person now because California is dropping insurance companies. So we got to redo that.
Right.
You're just like, dude, there's a lot behind the scenes of this that you don't see or you don't realize. Or when you're a sous chef or a CDC or whatever might be in a business, like you don't deal with that side of it. You know, and I think it's been very eye-opening for me to deal with and to see and to maneuver. But you never really think to yourself, or I never really thought to myself, helping run other people's restaurants, like, what happens when the CPA calls? And then your CPA calls you and they're like, hey, we got to talk about blah, 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 that you need to cut here, you need to cut there. And you're like, oh, fuck. So it's more than just like, make sure the steak is nice on the plate. Make sure that the chicken parm is cooked properly or that people like their dessert.
Right.
It's like, we got to run a business. And that's been a really interesting part for me that I've thoroughly enjoyed. It's been hard at times, harder and easier in certain times. But I think that's such an important part of the industry that a lot of us aren't privy to or don't get to do or deal with a lot of, where it's like, we're running restaurants that, at a certain level, we're running restaurants that are designed to not fail. There's such big safety nets to where it's like, just keep going, keep going, keep going. But what I found here, not having whatever, that same backing, if you will, that definitely influences a lot of your decisions of like, oh, we can't do this. We got to do this instead, you know?
Right.
I would love to be able to, you know, buy really nice, whatever plates and stuff. But it's like, my insurance just went up 40% this year.
Jesus
like,
fucking Christ.
We're not buying.
Yeah.
We're going to go to like
What's the reason for that?
Well, for us here, it's because we have an open fire. and
right.
the insurance company that we dealt with didn't want to cover it anymore. But I think that what the big problem is that insurance companies in California, especially fire insurance, they pay out so much, man. All the fires that we have here, they pay out so much money that, and we didn't ever have a claim. We never used our insurance, but they were just like, you're too high risk for us. And we don't want to.
That's interesting.
Have to worry about that.
So it's hard to open and more expensive to open fire cooking restaurants in places where there's wildfires.
Hell yeah. And our insurance, dude, we went from. Yeah.
So when there's a wildfire, there's insurance payouts?
Well, if it burns people's homes down.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the homes, yeah, but like.
I don't know about like, I would imagine no one's paying out for the field.
Right. Okay,
but
got you. That's what
when you burn down 100 homes.
Yeah.
And you're paying out hundreds of millions of dollars, they're like, dude, we don't want to do this. Yeah. But the hard part, I think that a lot of people don't realize is like, yeah, man, our insurance went through the roof. It's fucking expensive. But all of a sudden when you if I were to raise all my costs here by 30%, people would come in and be like, this place is way too expensive. And you're like, yeah, well, you don't realize that rent, insurance, workman's comp, like the two different insurances that I have to have, like this shit is expensive as fuck. So that's why your salad is X amount of dollars. Right. And honestly, it should be more. But it seems like the culinary industry and the restaurant industry is the one where it's hard for you to raise your prices and for people to be okay with it. Yeah. Because I think a lot of people, especially in this area, it's an older clientele, like in Carmel, for example. Yeah. And humorously, you have people that are like, I remember 50 years ago that a steak was $4. And it's like, my dad will show me menus from his restaurants back in like the 70s, and a steak was like $5. They used to do a 3-course menu at their first restaurant back in the day for like $4.25 or some shit. So when you have people that experienced that, and all of a sudden now it's like a ribeye is $90 at most restaurants you go to. Right. Yeah, people are going to be like, well, what?
I think that's true, but there's definitely those people that like are okay with some things going up. Yeah. Not other things. Like food is never one of those things. They never want to pay more for food. But like if their favorite shirt costs $5 more every year,
don't give a shit.
Yeah. If their favorite whatever, if their streaming service, you know, and everything's
what
just
a robbery that is.
Yeah, dude. Man. So everything's just getting more and more expensive. It's like, where does the buck stop? Like I get inflation, but like is minimum wage just going to be $50 and but then it just means the same as it is today? Like yeah, it's 50, but it really means 20. But with inflation, and it's like,
well, and the hard part too there is like with minimum wage that I think a lot of people don't think about or don't realize, and I didn't for a long time. Is like, you know, we're gonna raise minimum wage, which is good. People should make more money,
definitely.
But I think the bigger thing is that people should keep more money. Yeah. So raising wages is great. But the big thing that happens is that the state makes more taxes. Right. So
that's what it is for. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, rather than raising my minimum wage, why don't you lower my taxes? Yeah. I'll keep more. And all of a sudden, you know, you're raising wages to $20, $25 an hour. Yeah. And guess what? You're putting people into new tax brackets that they weren't in before. And now it's like, so I make more money, I pay more taxes. Dude.
It's the same. It's the same shit.
You're like, I was better off making less and keeping more, which is fucked up that it even worked. Like,
right.
You're like,
and that's what it too. It's hard because like I went to college, I got student loans, right? But now I'm in a point in my career where like I'm making good money. Yeah. That just fucks you even worse. Yeah. Because now they're well, seems like you can pay for it. Yep. And then living in California, that's another, you know what I'm saying? They're taking 50% of your shit just like, here,
dude,
give me.
You got to pay like $4 to get in the carpool lane now. There's not even a carpool lane anymore.
There isn't.
You got to get a fast track to drive to the Bay Area, and you're like, wait, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like,
and you never own.
And where does that money go?
Exactly. It goes to literally 2 or 3 people. Like somebody was telling me they had their wife worked as a teacher for the Oakland school district, and they have to pay into a fund every single teacher. It's like $25 off of each paycheck, but it goes to this fund. And then my boy did some research on what that fund is, and he's like, the top 6 people in this company make over $400,000 a year. You know what I mean? And it's like, how do we get out of that? And like, the thing is, we're in a time where we kind of know what's going on. So I feel like it's time for just the government to be like, all right, look, like,
the jig's up. We just take your money.
Like, yeah, we just take your money. Like, these people over here are making it. Don't worry. We're going to get it back from them now because they don't need all the things that they have in their life to live their life. You know, it's just all cush and stuff to have. Right. Because when you are a private chef, you do realize what the uber rich are like.
Oh, hell yeah.
And all they're doing is like trying to outclass each other with how much money they spent. Like, okay, you rented or you bought a $50,000 yacht. I'm going to buy a fucking $300,000 yacht or whatever the fuck. I don't know what yacht prices are, but $50,000 is probably not where you.
Yeah, it's like how much it is to get the captain on board.
That's what I'm saying, bro. You never know. So, Maligne, the menu, what is the inspiration for that? Are you doing Belgian food or?
No, I mean, no, not really.
Influence?
I think that the food here has become, it's hard, man. You know, it's like when you open a business and people are like, so what's the cuisine type?
Yeah.
And you're like,
that's a stupid question.
It's food. Like we put groceries on plates, dude. Like we feed you. Come eat the food. Unless you're opening like a French restaurant, a tapas bar. Like, dude, we're a restaurant. I don't know. I've worked in a handful of different styles of cuisines. Right. I'm not an Italian restaurant. I'm not a French restaurant.
Right. They're uninterested too if you say that.
Yeah.
If you give them that response to the normal person, they're like, oh.
And it's like, funny because I found myself having to put myself into a box, if you will. So it's like, I guess we're considered New American by people.
Right.
I don't even know what the fuck New American is. But people are like, oh yeah, you're New American. Or at least Yelp tells us that we're New American.
Right. Thanks, Yelp.
Yeah. Jesus. So for us, man, our menu changes pretty often here. There's some stuff that we found that works, that stays on. You know, I never thought that I'd own a restaurant that serves chicken parm, but chicken parm stays on our menu. It doesn't come off.
Shit's delicious.
Dude, it's good. The dish makes sense on the plate.
Yeah.
In
what do you
use? Spreadsheet. No, we use a chicken breast, dude.
Use a breast. Wow.
Butterfly it out, brine it, panko it, all that fun stuff. Fry
Damn.
it.
So it's classic.
Classic.
Do you bake it in a hotel and then cut it, or do you got like little mold pans that you?
No. So we like butterfly the breast out, fry the breast. We just crack it in the deep fryer, and then like prosciutto, basil, mozzarella, tomato sauce, bake it in the oven.
And just send it.
And then pull it out, and then put tomato sauce on the plate. The chicken parm on top of that, and then we do like a really nice radicchio and salanova salad on top, bunch of herbs, Parmesan again on top, and send it, man.
Call it a fucking day. So is it family style? Is it meant to share the food? Or is it individual?
Like all the food or that in particular?
No, meaning like just the style.
So I think
of menu.
that I like to tell people to share. Just I like eating that way more,
I think,
you know. And we do have. It's funny. The younger people that come here, they all order like that without us saying anything.
Right. That's the new way to eat.
The older clientele is like, no, I want my salad when she gets her crab cake or whatever. Right. And for the mains, I would like my steak to come out with her fish. And you're like, all right, dude, sure, whatever,
no problem.
Like I'm much more of a fan of like send it as it's ready. Like here, dude, if I were to come and eat here with like 4 friends. I'd be like, all right, dude, give me the best 70% of the menu or whatever. Unless I'm going to like Angler, I'm not going to order your salad.
Right.
You know, I don't need a salad. Your guys' salads up there, they were fucking delicious.
Right.
So I'll get your salad. But here it's like, I would order probably 8 to 10 things with a handful of friends and eat it as it comes, dude. Like, we work with a handful of different little farms here that are really nice to work with.
Yeah.
It does make things a bit difficult at times where if, like, you know, we'll run out of a product halfway through the week and they're like, well, we don't have any more. You know, it's like there's a break in Salanova lettuce, so I don't have any more, but I've got this. Will that work? And it's like sometimes yes and sometimes no, so I've got to change it completely. Yeah. So
are you printing menus?
Oh, yeah.
So you're having to reprint when you have changes and shit?
A lot of menus, yeah.
God damn, what do you do with the menus that are old?
Use them for scratch paper,
Usually
like
that's
on
what I do, yeah.
clipboards.
Prep list, man.
prep. Use them to fucking start the fire if we have to.
Yeah, draw shit, make points. Like,
Yeah, I wish I had a more sustainable outlet for the paper, but
for sure.
you know,
No, I just like it's paper costs like it's like the office, bro. You're like
it costs, dude.
Printing
When every sheet's like whatever, 15, 20, 25 cents.
dude,
Like
that's a lot, man.
Yeah,
And
we print on
ink-
like nice cardstock.
Ink is the fucking
That's a
worst,
robbery,
dude. Yeah,
that's a
man.
fucking highway robbery.
That's what I'm saying.
If we didn't have so many old people in the area, man, I would just put a really nice chalkboard on the hood and just be like, "Here's the food for the day."
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
But with a
yeah.
lot of the people here, they'd be like walking up, like, "What's that say?" And you're like,
Sir.
"Yeah, could you read it for me?" And you're like,
Yeah. I will.
You know, and like the thing that I really enjoyed that it's hard for us here. This area is definitely changing. Like the food in this area is changing. The culinary scene, just the attention that we have down here, with new restaurants opening up, whether it's Johnny that opened up, us opening up, Chef Justin at Aubergine that's been crushing it for
Straight up
years
killing
now,
it,
man.
yeah.
He is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Another one of my favorite restaurants to go to. His place is awesome.
Yeah. Shout out to Tiffany DeGeorge, his sous chef.
Yeah, she's killer, dude.
Yeah, I used to work with her at Metalwood.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Last time one of the last times we went there, she brought out a super, super nice caviar course for us.
She's dope.
Asparagus caviar. It was phenomenal.
yeah, baby.
Absolutely phenomenal. But with so much more attention coming out here, you're slowly starting to see like the dining style change here.
Yeah.
But the thing I miss about Europe and like European restaurants a lot of is that the amount of people that have restaurants or they go out to eat for lunch or for dinner, and it's like we have a carte blanche menu. Like we do a 5, 7, 9 course carte blanche. What can you not eat? And we're just going to feed you. I wish more people did that here, or were more open to that style of dining of like sit down. You almost want to put like on the body of your menu, like let us feed you for this for this amount of money. Just eat, dude.
Yeah,
Like
we used to do that at Charter Oak, but I feel like that because it was $100 a person, right? Not everyone can afford that. You got to have tiers.
yeah.
You got to do like 25, 50, 100, like boom.
And it forces you, and I think it's cool, dude, but it forces you to be creative.
Yeah.
Like,
also, you can use your leftovers or like your trim, all that shit. Gets used in that.
Yeah, and it's like you got to figure out, for example, this last week we got our Knights Valley shipment in, got all the skirt steaks. So it's like, all right, we'll cook those just as skirt steaks for people and like do a nice set for that. We always get 2 beef cheeks, and then we get part of the chuck. So we cut like a Delmonico out of the chuck, serve that as a grilled steak. And then there's all the trim from that. And it's like, all right, so what are we going to do with that? Sometimes we do like a presse, or we just like, I think the other day, like braised it all, and either we'll make like croquettes or something with it. But it's being able to do dishes like that where it's like, I should be able to give you for like $30 or whatever. I give you 3 plates of food. It's not going to be like, you're not getting Dover sole.
Yeah.
But like,
That's what I mean.
you could leave here with food in your stomach that's good quality ingredients.
And you know how much you're going to pay.
Yeah.
Because that helps too for dates.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because
they're not getting any cheaper anymore, man.
Yeah, bro. So you got to know what you're going to spend out here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, yeah, dude. I love my girlfriend, but damn, sometimes we go out and I'm like, fuck.
That's right. She's like,
But she's great too, because she'll be like, I mean, like even tonight, it's like we'll typically go out on Sundays.
Yeah.
And we usually always go to Aubergine, man, in the bar and eat in the bar there, which is great. But tonight it's like, oh, dude, can we just like hang out at home and cook a donabe?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, sure. No problem. I'm very thankful that you're easily as happy and entertained sitting at home and cooking at home.
Dude, donabe cooking is dope at home.
Yeah.
Like, you don't got to, there's no mess.
No.
You're not sauteing.
Dude, it's like the one pot wonder of one pot wonders.
Baby. You're just like, boom, 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 layer.
Yeah.
Fucking go.
Yeah. And I mean, it's nice for me here. I live 100 feet that way.
Yeah.
And then I just walk over here. I don't think I've turned my stove on at home for 2 years. Just haven't.
That's dope, though. You have no commute.
No.
Just literally walk over here. Where's the beach?
5 minutes that way.
Okay, got it.
It's like on the other side of the freeway.
Yeah, is it like a huge beach? Like people, it's like filled up?
Yeah, the beach here, no. Like more people, I think, go to Carmel Beach if they want to like whatever, put a towel down or some shit and sit down and relax. But the beach here is a lot more. You see a lot more fishing. There's a lot of like the fishing community that comes out, and what do they go for, like striper, perch, I want to say, or what they catch here.
Yeah.
But there's a really cool hotel that was kind of like old and run down, and a new investment group just got in there, bought it, just redid it. They did a good job, and it's like right on the water. So we'll go over there every once in a while. They have a cool bar, get like a martini, hang out, watch the sunset there. But the beaches from like Seaside all the way up to like Moss Landing are definitely more, I don't know, like people take their dogs or are running, or there's an immense amount here. The beaches are always filled with the parasailers that are going up in the air pockets and shit. But it's a beautiful beach, white sand, like it's the same beach, the same water. What I always tell people, it's the same sand and the same water as Carmel. It's just 10 minutes up the road and a fraction of the price.
Yeah, for sure. Is there, so why do people come to Seaside? Is this just mainly?
So I think it's changed. Like predominantly back in the day, this road used to be a 4-lane road. It was not very attractive at all. And it's like, dude, back in the day, Seaside used to have a lot of gangbanging, a lot of like crime. And it was definitely more of like the working class community that lived in Seaside. A lot of the workforce lived out here.
That's why I figured the people that work in Carmel and shit like that.
They all live in
there, right?
like Seaside, Salinas and stuff.
That makes sense.
And it used to be, it was like, you wanted to go eat Mexican food, you would come to Seaside. Unfortunately, like the best place has been under construction. Like they're remodeling it, an old supermarket that had a taco stand in the back. But probably 5 years ago, or 4 or 5 years ago now, the city of Seaside got a grant for like, like $10 million or something.
Yeah.
And they redid the street here, and they brought it down to 2 lanes. They put in 12-foot sidewalks, bike lanes, and they wanted to turn this into downtown.
Right.
And they wanted to turn it into like the downtown area of Seaside so that they could promote the city, bring more foot traffic, more tax revenue, and do all that. So it's these 3 or 4 blocks here that they need to like kind of help push places open and kind of like drive that foot traffic more. But
definitely,
you've got the bar next door, the Mexican restaurant. There's a coffee shop that my brother has just like catty cornered us, Counterpoint Coffee.
Your brother's coffee shop?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, my brother's got a coffee shop across the street.
Damn, we have a whole restaurant family.
Dude, we're
like the Jackson
all over
5
the place,
of fucking family.
My fucking my cousin and my cousin has a couple restaurants in Carmel as well.
All right, what are they called, bro? So rep them out.
So Bicyclette is one of them. So my dad opened all of their restaurants together with his sister, brother, and brother-in-law, and they had like 4 of them opened a bunch of restaurants and sold them, opened them, sold them, and then my dad and his brother ended up being the partners that bought everybody out. And then they had restaurants together, and then they, separated their businesses. So we used to be a partner in a restaurant called Bicyclette that's like a French bistro in Carmel. Super cool, dude. Awesome restaurant. But now my aunt and her kids have Bicyclette. They have a restaurant called Pescadero now that used to be a Spanish tapas bar.
I think I seen it last time I was there.
Probably.
Walking with Cogley. We went to go get a coffee up the street of some spot.
Yeah, maybe Carmel Bell or something, probably.
Something like that. It was like a white building, cement. We walked there from the office.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So yeah, they got Bicyclette. They have Barmel.
Yeah.
The bar in Carmel.
Barmel.
Yeah, I did.
Yo, that is a stupid.
And that's a fucking busy. That's a busy bar, man. Holy shit.
Well, fuck.
Yeah, man, that place is wild. It used to be a bar called Odie's back in the day when I was in high school. And Odie's was a phenomenal place, but they ended up getting in trouble because they just sold a bunch of coke at the bar and guns. But it was a cool place, fun bar.
The restaurant. It was a restaurant. You said?
It was a bar back in the day.
Okay, got it.
And then when they lost their lease, my cousin bought
Right.
the bar
Right.
next
Okay.
door to his restaurant. It was a cool little place growing up. The only place you could be in high school and like walk into a bar and they wouldn't bat an eye. So I don't make my money selling alcohol, dude. He's like, whatever you want, a beer, drink a beer. We're doing other shit here. So yeah, definitely have a restaurant family here, man. But so a couple businesses opened up here on Broadway. We've got a brewery at the end of the street, Other Brother, which is awesome. That's the beer that we serve here.
Yeah.
They do an awesome job. Ad Astra, the bakery used to be inside that brewery.
Okay.
They've recently left and they opened up a larger space.
Yeah, they got
in
their
Monterey.
shit together, huh?
Dude, they outgrew their space.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the amount of production that Ron and his team were doing out of there was insane.
Yeah.
Like
especially
hundreds
with
and
baking
hundreds
too,
of-
dude.
And one walk in.
Yeah. The timing, the proofing,
Oh, yeah.
all that, dude.
Yeah. Like they at one point, I want to say, he's like, I have somebody in there 24 hours a day. That there's always people in there working, whether they're shaping, mixing, fucking kneading, baking, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
There's people in there, and they were doing restaurant, they were doing farmers market, they were doing like selling there. It was insane.
Yeah.
So we're slowly starting to see more and more businesses open up here.
Yeah.
And now it's just a matter of like what's going to open next.
Yeah.
I think that there's another restaurant opening up a couple blocks down that I want to say is like Oaxacan food, which I'm still like,
Yeah.
dude,
Hell yeah,
another
baby.
Mexican restaurant that I can walk to from home. Sign me up, man. I grew up eating an immense amount of Mexican food, so I will not be the person that complains
Fuck
about
yeah.
that.
So Seaside's coming up. Are you planning on opening more restaurants past this? Once you get this to a good spot? You could be the mayor of Seaside.
Yes and
like
no.
TK and Yampa.
Like, yeah, right. I'm now helping my dad more and more with his restaurant Casanova in Carmel, and trying to help more and more there to give my parents finally time to relax.
Yeah.
So I find myself split. Like my mornings I spend in town working for my parents, and then I come here in the late morning, afternoons, and come run this shop. I don't know that I would like to open another restaurant. I don't think that I would open like I don't want to say full service restaurant, but I think it would be different than here. I think that the model that we see more and more now that I think is awesome is like a nice wine bar. I
Yeah.
think is great, where you can make money by doing retail, which is huge.
That's what you need to do, yeah.
You know, you need to have that money that's able to come in.
Yeah.
And people are always going to want to come in and buy a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
But I would love to have a place, man, that's just like a cool wine bar, kind of like small bites, trattoria style, where if you want to come in and get whatever, a couple selected cheeses, charcuteries, buy wine, all in one, I think would be super fun. And I love this restaurant. I love cooking for people here, but I really want to find a way to be able to have a location where it's like myself and one other person, and I don't feel bad telling people at that point, like, this is what's being cooked today. If you don't like it, don't fucking come here.
Right.
Like, if you want to have whatever, a different menu, go across the street or
Right.
wherever we are. But like, this is a very particular thing that we're
Right.
doing here. And it's not about showing off or trying to prove anything to anybody, but I want to have a place that's like, this is what showed up from the market today. This
Right.
is what's going to get made. Maybe it's not your cup of tea today, or maybe the fishermen didn't have black cod today and they brought us blah, blah, blah. So that's what we're cooking.
Right.
But I'd like to be able to have a space like that, that does a combo of like wine shop, food. I've got a wood-fired pizza oven that doesn't get used right now, so I could figure out a way to put that in there would be great too.
Is that mobile?
If with a forklift.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
You need
yeah.
to put that bitch on a stand or in the back of a truck.
Yeah, it's on a stand right now in the backyard. But I'd like to be able to use that somewhere and just do like a nice place. It's like, dude, come in. This is what's on the menu today. You should come and eat, or don't if it's not your style. I don't think that we have the clientele for it necessarily here, but if I could open any style of restaurant, I would opened a Swan Oyster Depot. I love Swan Oyster Depot, man. That's my favorite restaurant, probably hands down ever. And there's just something that's so funny to me, or like comforting, of being at a seafood counter, just talking shit to people all day long. And you're like, that would be really fun.
Right.
Like,
that's why
that would be fucking awesome.
That's why I do the podcast. You know, that's why people. That's why people are fucking barbers. You know, or bartenders, right? It's like, I do the craft, but then mainly I'm talking to people and connecting. On whatever level.
Yeah, being hospitable.
Exactly, and I think that's amazing.
Where it's harder to do here, but I'd love to have a space where it's like, hey, dude, we can shoot the shit, be hospitable, talk to people. The food is definitely a reason why you're here, but it's almost like the second reason. Right. It's like, come here, just come and hang out. Come eat, come chat, shoot the shit. Offload your problems on the person next to you. Maybe they want to listen. Hopefully.
Word up, baby. Chef, I think we leave it there. And before we go, though, I want you to just... there's the camera right here. You're going to look in there. You're going to rep your business, bro. Address and everything. Let them know how to find you.
Oh, shit. Hey, dude. Right. We are at 600 Broadway Avenue in Seaside, California. Our Instagram is just Maligne, Maligne. You can find us on there. I wish I was more active than I am on Instagram, but I'm going to try to get back in there again. We're open Tuesday to Saturday, lunch and dinner on Friday and Saturdays from 12 to 2:30, and then 5 to 9 for dinner.
Amazing.
Hell yeah, dude.
All right, bro. Let me take couple pictures of you, and then I think we're done.
There we go.
Bow, bow, bow.
Thank you so much, man. This is great.
Yeah.
This is a fun experience.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
At the end of the day, that's that's what we do. Sucio Talk podcast. Come check out Maligne over here. Episode comes out tomorrow, along with Real Bay Area Memes and Chef Haley Garabato, sous chef at Mise.
Oh, I worked with her.
Peace. Oh, you did? Where?
Yeah, at Atelier Cren.
Okay. Got it.
She's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, dude.
That chick is badass.
Yeah, hardcore for sure. Yeah, she's awesome. I'm glad. I'm like, say whatever you want. Like, people are out there like, there's no staff and there's no people in hospitality. I'm like, motherfucker, we're here.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just a matter of time before...
You just got to find them and pay them well, dude.
It all blossoms, for sure.
I think the biggest thing, too, is